Let me tell you something, folks. All you got to remember, God bless America, man. God bless America. How you doing it? It's Big Sills. 4th of July week. One of my favorite holidays of the year. You know why? Family, food, fireworks. That's why. No matter all the BS that's going on in the world, greatest country on the planet. Everybody gets to debate their bitches, likes, dislikes, get to watch sports, talk sports, pretty much get to do whatever you want. I love that. I love that. God bless America, baby. How you doing? Senor goes, because you put on your American Speedo on the 4th. Am I right, Sills? Absolutely not. Big Sills is freedom first and freedom always. 21 days from today is the start of Eagles and many NFL teams' training camps. Happy Monday to you guys. I appreciate you coming aboard. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. This holiday week, more Americans are going to be traveling to loved ones and to destinations than any time in the last decade. I think that's awesome, man. I absolutely think that's awesome. Oh, by the way, I saw and I heard Xander and John McMullen. And then I heard that guy, Jeff Kerr, who I like, by the way. The Eagles are like the third story. Eagles are never the third story. They're never the third team. They may be a third conversation in a brief moment because the Sixers sign a 72-year-old Paul George who had a catastrophic leg injury a couple of years ago. And by the way, for the record, what did that guy do in Los Angeles? I must have missed it. All those banners hanging from the Staples Center. I must have missed it. So you signed an old guy who had a catastrophic knee injury. Okay. Daryl Morey. Hard at work again. You know who Daryl Morey is, the general manager of the Sixers? He's the king of his own kingdom and the master of nothing. I've never seen a more overrated general manager. I hear people going, he's a great GM. Great GMs do something. Howie's done something. Dave Dombrowski's done something. Shit, John Tortorella's done something. What exactly, again, has Daryl Morey done? I love the Maxey deal. All good. But how about this one? We'll move on from this, of course, because I'm not spending my day talking about a move that. Do you think that gets you into the Eastern Conference Finals? Or are you like the Dallas Cowboys, one and done? Does a Paul George move put you in the Eastern Conference Finals? I don't think it does. Oh, you're better than the Knicks. I don't know about that. I actually like that Knicks team. And for the record, I don't trust Embiid. He hasn't proven one thing to me, that he's a winner. He's a great player. You know what he is? He's a 7-foot. Let me make a comparison. I mean, he's a 7-foot James Harden. That's who he is. He's a 7-foot James Harden. That's how I look at him. I mean, okay. I mean, everybody's all excited. You sure spent a lot of money. But okay. Today is one of the greatest days in sports history. Today is Bobby Bonilla Day. For the next, let's see, until the year 2035, I think it is. This is so Mets. This is so New York Mets. They're paying a guy since 2011 $1.12 million because he deferred his money out, and he'll be 72 years old when that thing stops clicking into his bank account and he stops getting that direct deposits. What a deal, man. And the Mets are paying a guy who hasn't been on. Get this, Bobby Bonilla hasn't played a baseball inning for the Mets since 1999. Does that sound right? Hey, the amazing Mets. Whoo, baby. It is Bobby Bonilla Day. Holy, so between Daryl Morey and the Bobby Bonilla Day, and we are 21 days out to the start of training camp. That's a good way to get this bad puppy going. It absolutely is. Oh, and I do have to go here with this one. Do you guys know who Pat Tillman is? How many people in here know who Pat Tillman is? You know who Pat Tillman is? Former NFLer. Died in combat, albeit friendly fire. That's another show, another debate. Right? Was accidentally killed by his own people, but was deployed in Afghanistan. He's an American hero. And this is exactly why nobody watches the entertainment sports network any longer, or as I like to call it, the CNN of sports broadcasting, ESPN. So you're going to give the Pat Tillman Award that personifies bravery to Prince Harry? Does Prince Harry even know who Pat Tillman is? Does he even know what he represents? Because they dropped his ass in a helicopter and paraded it around like it was supposed to be something significant with his older brother, I'm supposed to believe that this guy's some hero? So at the ESPYs, they're going to be honoring Prince Harry with the Pat Tillman Award. I mean, someone help me here. This can't be real. An American war hero, after he saw the buildings fall, quit the NFL, who had just signed a 3-year contract extension with the Cardinals to enlist in the military, the Rangers. He was a friend of ours. Pat Tillman goes and enlists and goes on deployment to defend America, and they're going to give it. Put the mother is already saying it's a disgrace. Pat Tillman's mom. It's a disgrace. That's why nobody watches that woke ass network any longer. I mean, why? What's the point of that? What are you? I mean, what? Because he's friends with Oprah and his psycho wife? You're kidding, right? Dude, I don't give a shit about the Royals. Americans don't give a shit about those people. I only care about Americans. I care about American war heroes. I care about the soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan, those 13 men and women. That's who I care about. I care about Prince Harry. ESPN does? What a disgrace. It's totally why nobody watches that network. And I got to tell you, man, I got to hand it to Pat McAfee. He killed that network, and he's on that network. He's on that network, and he was killing them for it. Look at Dan, National Drama Show. This guy thinks it's cool that you honor a nobody with an American hero. It's just the fact that his name being next to Prince Harry's. It's what makes it disgraceful. It's not courage. It's a disgrace. It's a complete disgrace. You know why Americans watch the Royals and the royal family? Because we laugh at that. It's a symbolic gesture of a family. They don't even have any kind of power any longer. It's all parliament and shit. Got nothing to do with it. Holy cow. Yeah, I'm sure you just got in here, dude. I mean, hey, I'm boycotting the ESPYs. I'm not watching that shit. You're giving the Arthur Ashe Award out to people too. Like the swimmer from Penn, all that stupid shit. I'm not doing that, man. I do not watch ESPN. Only when they have football games on, college football, or they have like Monday Night Football. That's it. I don't watch any of that shit. I watch a little bit of Pat McAfee. Okay? I watch a little bit of that. I'm boycotting that shit. I have no interest. Okay? Harry had 6 silver spoons his entire life. Yeah, he was born on the same yacht that Jeffrey Lurie was born on. he was born on the same yacht that he was born on. All right. So Devontae Smith had a great softball, game and shit. It's great. Got to hand it to him, man. Answering all those questions, all the players that were out there having a good time. And here comes the quarterback. He's there playing, they're all charity softball. Was really great. Right? All awesome. Everybody's answering questions about the team, some of the little bit of the drama. And the only guy who doesn't say anything is Jalen Hurts. He could have just said this. You guys took it out of bounds. That's not what I meant. That's a you thing. You don't even have to expand on it. You had the avenue to be a dick to the Philly media by going, you took what I said and you made that out of it. Well, that's a you thing. Because that's not what I meant. He had an opportunity to address it with all the media people around and say, that's not what I meant. Okay? That's not what I meant. Everyone else addressed it. I thought Devontae's answers and questions that were thrown at him were great. Darius Slay looks like the mouthpiece of the team now. And there's little old Jalen Hurts. Hey, this just in, Jalen. You might want to take a media class and how to answer questions, especially since you're the face of the franchise. You might want to maybe, I don't know, take some lessons on how to be a face of a franchise. Because I'll tell you what, you're not. And you don't act accordingly. Seriously, you asking them to lie? You want to call it lie? How about this? Tell them what they need to know. That's not what I meant. And I'm not going to quantify it by justifying it to you. Be a little more of a dick. It's okay. He had a chance to address it and erase it. He had a chance to walk it back. He wouldn't do it. This guy is not very good in front of a microphone. Jalen Hurts is like a shoe in personality. This guy has no personality. This guy has no way of vocally telling people that he's the leader of that team. Hey, in today's NFL, especially with social media, that's not good enough. You've got to portray yourself as a leader. You got to carry yourself as one. He doesn't. He doesn't carry it. He could have just shot that whole thing down. Another T-ball moment for Hurts, and he passed on it. It was a friendly event. It was everything. It was teed up for him. Why didn't you just go, hey, listen, my relationship with Nick is fantastic. We're all good. I love his new role. Everything is, there's no problems here. Nope. Holy cow. Hey, this just in, like I said, you might want to call Bob Lang, King Propaganda guy in Philly, head of the PR department, who had an awful offseason. Hey, Bob, your group and your dudes has had a worst week next to the press corps over at the White House. I don't know who had a worse week, them or you. Holy cow. You don't have to be a jackass. But Jesus, prepare these guys. Dude, what a T-ball moment, too. You totally had a T-ball moment. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. The offseason's been great. A lot of things that have been said around here have not been true. Everyone's on the same page. We're working hard. I look forward to training camp starting in 3 weeks. Nope, nothing. You keep it hanging out there for jackasses like me to keep swinging away and hitting them over the fence. I'm hitting shit over the fence. This guy's bunting and striking out. Holy cow. This guy's got the personality of a rock. Oh, man. You should be his translator, Sills. Jalen could bring you to the presses and piss off everyone. Must-see TV. Yeah, but you know what, Slagger? You know how I would piss everyone off? By telling them the truth. Hey, nothing's going on here. Everything's cool. Instead of saying shit like this, I don't know his job role. I don't know what's up. You'll have to ask him. I have no idea. You're sitting at a charity softball event. Softball's being thrown at him. I don't know. Oof. Hey, I'm sure they teach a class in communications over at Villanova, guy. You might want to take a class. I'll say this. If Hurts doesn't start the season off looking like an MVP, he's going to get raked over the coals. Yes, sir, baby. Hit the like button, my friend. Sills, if you say the truth, why backtrack what you say? I don't backtrack on anything I say. If somebody does something that I'm wrong on, that's called being wrong, Martin. You ever been wrong in your life? So wait a minute. This is what Martin calls backtracking. Hey, I said that Lamar Jackson back in about 5 years ago, I said he'd be out of the league because that game he played against the Chargers. Here. Let me show you this. This is what some of you dickheads think is backtracking. 5 years ago, I said, well, I don't see Lamar Jackson being anything. Absolutely not good. He wasn't good in that playoff game against the Chargers, and I don't see it. He turns out to win 2 MVPs in the last, 4 years, 5 years? That's called being wrong. That's not backtracking. That's called being wrong. So being wrong is backtracking? Okay, I'm wrong. I'm backtracking. Okay, I'm wrong. Just like you on Wentz. Wentz is a superstar. No, he wasn't. You backtracked. Like Nick Sirianni. He's a great coach. No, he's not. You backtracked. I never said that guy was a good coach. Like ever have I said that. How do you expect Jalen and this offense to start off like I've been together for 5 years? That's what is wrong with most fans. Forrest, they think they're going to be hitting the treadmill in week 1 against Green Bay. Green Bay's going to blow them out. They're going to blow them out. And I mean by blowout, 14 points, Green Bay wins that game. I don't believe that game's close in Sao Paulo. I think the Packers blow them out like by 14. New coordinators, new style of offense, new play callers. That's not going to be a seamless transition. Name me a place where you saw that, where a team goes on and wins a Super Bowl, where you change both coordinators and an offensive scheme. Name me one place. Can you name me one where you remember that happening, where a team won a Super Bowl doing that? Name me one. One Super Bowl champion team that changed the coordinators out and the offense out and the new defensive scheme that they're going to run, and they went on to win it. He says Gruden. Monty Kiffin was not changed out, dog. He was not changed out. Monty Kiffin was still there under John Gruden, the defensive coordinator. Kenny Foles, it could happen. Yeah, Leonard, I like it. Monty Kiffin didn't leave after John Gruden got the job from Tony Dungy. He remained intact. He did not leave that place. So Both coordinators were not changed out. Not true. And John Gruden brought in like 22, like Joe Jaravicius and a bunch of new dudes that he brought in. Coordinators were not changed out. The entire defensive coaching staff stayed intact too, by the way. How you doing? I disagree. The Eagles are winning by 3. Of course you are. Hurts won't be. Hey, Hurts can't. He's such a shitty leader. He really is. He's a shitty leader. Or no, I'll take that back. He's a shitty face of a franchise. I mean it. This guy gets teed up everywhere he goes to be an opportunity to show everything's cool in the locker room. Not him. He can't do it, man. He just can't. It's not in his deal. It's not in his DNA. That's not who that guy is. Sills, that's why we can't expect this team to just roll over teams. It's going to take some time to gel. Absolutely true, dude. There is no doubt about that. It's the gel. Get this, you changed your coordinators out last year, albeit lesser experienced guys, but you changed your guys out last year, you never gelled. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, look at here. Here's my boy, LJ. Calling him a Kobe Bryant. Oh, I think he's got a lot of Kobe Bryant mentality in him and his game and how he plays the game. Yeah. But as the face of a franchise, he's horrible. Hey, dude, there's more to just being the face of the franchise. There's a guy that's also a public leader. He ain't it. He ain't it. He's got a little bit of it in him. Yeah. He does. But when it comes to being the face of that franchise, he's pathetic. Seals woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Absolutely. I'm in a fabulous mood because this week's 4th of July week. Hey, try again. Okay. We haven't been running the 34. I could have swore that guy was in the building 2 years ago as a consultant to your football team, Vic Fangio. Try again. You guys think Lane Johnson are better faces for the franchise at the moment? Jalen might become that guy, but I haven't seen it yet. How come Sam sees it? Way to go, Sam. Sam, this guy's teed up at a softball event. He can't do it. He can't do it. He's a stoic leader. Yeah, he was so stoic when he was on the bench in the Bucs playoff game. He looked stoic there. You know what he looked like? A jerk. Stoic. That was stoic? That's stoic? I thought he was looking for his marbles. Stoic? What's next? Joe Biden stoic. Ross calling me, Stills Hurts was not prepared for how quickly the media can turn on you. That's because Bob, especially in Philly, didn't get this in Bama or OU. I prefer he learn the new O over dealing with the media. Yeah, but hey, it's very true. But here's why. Don't trust the media. Don't ever trust them. The Sills have a right side of the bed. Big Sills has the entire bed. I own the bed. And you're in it. Hey. But again, so why in the world would you ever think you could trust the media? Because you think you can control the media. Like the PR department for the Eagles does. Xander will join us at 3:30, Gary Cobb at 4:30. You can't trust these people. They don't have your best interest at heart. And they'll turn on you. Hey, are you under the impression these people like you? If you stay too long, they turn you into a villain. If you give them too much, they'll use it against you. Like any marriage. Are you kidding me? You can't trust the media. Who in the world would ever think you got to trust these guys? Okay, who would ever think that? You know what you do? You treat the media like peasants. You treat the fans like equals. Fans and media are different. The media doesn't speak for the fans. They think they do, but they don't. You treat them folks like peasants. I'll tell you what I'm going to give you. You like it or not, I don't care. But then you know what they start writing about you? You're an asshole. You just got through saying it. And that's why Belichick has a poor relationship with the media. But Belichick doesn't have a poor relationship with the Patriot fan base. What would you rather have? I'd rather be revered by my fan base than by some dickhead named Dan Shaughnessy for the Boston Herald. Who cares what he thinks? Who cares? Seals, the PR department at NovaCare should tell Hurts to watch Bill Belichick pressers. Feed the media shit and move on. Bob, amen. Dude, get this. Hey, what's Nick Sirianni's role? You don't know it? Why should I tell you? Well, what do you think it is? I know what it is. I don't have to answer such a... That's like asking me, how long have you been a black quarterback? That stupid question Doug Williams was asked at the Super Bowl. There's certain questions that are dumb. What's Nick Sirianni's new role? You don't know it? I do. Well, what is it? Well, you should ask him. Coach and I are good. Don't tell him anything. At softball events like that, you make it lighter, of course. But if I were Jalen, I would have went, you guys are making more shit out of things that aren't there than I've ever seen before. This conversation had nothing to do with me. You made it about me. There's so many ways you could go with this. I would have fun with him, like Parcells used to with the New York media. I mean, really. He used to torture the New York media. Instead, you leave shit out there to hang. But again, that's a control thing that the PR department in Philadelphia makes because they trip over themselves. Hey, if there's anything we're watching right now being played out in front of us, when you try to control a narrative, what happens? It comes back to bite you. Does it not? When you try to control a narrative, eventually the truth is going to come out. And it's going to have to be a massive cleanup after the fact. Are we not witnessing this? Right? Instead of being transparent over there at NovaCare, all you have to do is just be honest. Bob, I love your takes today, Bob. You're killing it. Sills, once you start feeding the beast, they'll always look to get you. Absolutely, man. Okay? 1 minute, Sills says Hurts is a truth teller. Now he's a sorry leader. No. I said he's sorry at the mic. He's a sorry face of the franchise when it comes to the image of what you're trying to portray. Actually, they have nothing to do with his ability. And really, they're two different things. Hey, let me ask you something. How many times do you remember Brady in front of a microphone being asked 9 questions like that? How many times do you remember Brady answering questions that opened up any kind of criticism towards his head coach or any player on the team or anything, or questioning offenses? Even when he didn't like the Bruce Arians offense in Tampa. Right? LJ doesn't know. Once again, see, this is what sports, there's no take set in stone. He thinks there is. He thinks that sports athletes, if you make a comment about them, that should be set in stone. It's the biggest fucking stupidest comment you can make because athletes' careers go up and down. They change constantly. I'm not going to sit here and have a take 2 years ago on a player and think that applies now, because it doesn't. That is not true. Every athlete and their careers either go up or down or stay in the middle. There's no set take for professional sports. Nothing. That's right. Welcome to the NFL. How about this? Patriots are the greatest organization in pro football history. Are they really? Or was that the greatest run in the history of professional football? You think the Patriots are well run right now? Probably. The perception's not that, though. What happened? Players changed it. So should you still sit here and say the Patriots are the greatest run franchise in pro football today? Should you still say that? Or has that dynamic changed? New coach, no Brady. Has that changed? Or are they still the greatest franchise of all time? LJ would have you say you should stick with that. Sports changes. Players, coaches, ability, all that changes every year. That's a great one, William. Look at the Steelers. Steelers haven't had a losing season in 17 years, and Xander brings this up all the time now. So now the new benchmark in Pittsburgh is not having a losing season. I thought the benchmark in Pittsburgh was winning Super Bowls. How about you, James? James Jones, our DC guy, our Commanders guy. Hey, JM, you think the Washington Redskins are the same today as they were under Joe Gibbs and all those great coaches, Bobby Beathard? You think they're the same franchise today that they were then? Not even close? What happened? New faces, new players, new direction. Should you still hang with LJ's take? You made a comment about a team 10 years ago that they were great. Well, they're not great any longer. Well, they're still great. You look like a fool. Sports does not have one take that's set in stone. It doesn't have one. It's not a changing of opinion, guy. No, it actually is. It's a changing of an opinion. The opinion of the New England Patriots now has changed completely today than it was 5-6 years ago under Brady and Belichick. What changed? Well, no longer the players there. Organization's not run as well. They don't pick the same players that they did 7 years ago. So what happened? The dynamic of the Patriots has changed. But under LJ's take, they're still the greatest franchise of all time. Dude, you change daily? Sports changes daily. Sports changes daily, dude. An athlete's role changes on a team. So wait a minute, let me get this right. You think Paul George coming to the Sixers, does that change that he's now older? And Paul George, 5 years ago, was a better ball player than he is now? You're not talking about Paul George 5 years ago. But you're looking at Paul George of 5 years ago. James, the old guys that do sports talk, or the old guys who listen to sports talk, used to make predictions. Hey, and by the way, James, when I make a prediction, I tell you I'm making a prediction. Okay? And when I'm wrong on something, like I was with Lamar Jackson, like you were wrong on Wentz, we all know it. We all know it. Okay? Hey, get this. Remember last year when you guys were all starting to tell me, hey, Seals, you owe Jordan Davis an apology. I'm like this. Yeah, well, let's see how we play 17 ball games. Sills, this guy looks good. Well, let's see what he does after 17. Same old Jordan Davis. With get this, a better start to his season. Thank you, James. By the way, I think you guys are going to do some good things. Tomlin doesn't coach the offense. Hey, Forrest Hill, Mike Tomlin picked every single coach on that coaching staff. You know how I know that? 2 are ex-teammates of mine, and 2 of them are dear friends of mine. And you know what? They didn't have meetings with the GM. They didn't have meetings with the owner. They weren't handpicked by those guys. Mike Tomlin picked them. You know how Todd Monken got that job? We know Todd Monken. John Harbaugh called him up, and then they went to the owner and said, this is what I'd like to offer him. You know how Nick Sirianni hires somebody? Here's a piece of paper. Pick somebody off that sheet you like. He picked Matt Canada. He picked him. That's why he was held accountable. But at least he picked him. Hey, dude. Hey, Twiz. If I pick Matt Canada and Matt Canada runs my boat into the side of an iceberg, at least I picked it. I would hate to have my entire career dictated on somebody else doing shit for me. If I'm going to take the boat down, I'm taking the boat down, not someone else taking it down. Come on, man. Come on, Jalen. You had an opportunity, all teed up, ready to rock and roll. What happened? 4th of July week, too. Shit. I'm trying to give the guy a little bit of love here, too. Can't do it because you can't act accordingly. Okay? Look, get this. That's really got nothing to do with his play. But if he gets out slow, just like what Bob says, man, they're going to come after him. Hey, you want to see people? Hey, how about this one? Let's ask LJ this. How fast you think that Philadelphia media turns on Jalen Hurts if he gets out to a 1-3 start? What do you think? Hey, JM, Hurts gets out to a 1-3 start. How fast you think that Philly media turns on his ass? Okay? How fast? So you think Milton Williams gets 9 sacks? He's got goodwill. Yeah. What is that? He's got goodwill. He built up goodwill with the Philly media. He's got goodwill. Jalen has built up goodwill with the media. Hey, he's such a good guy. He's built up goodwill with a guy like Jeff McClain and them other guys. He built up goodwill. Yeah. Oh, my God. Hey, how many people think Jalen's built up goodwill if he gets out to a 1-4 start or a 1-3 start after going 1-7? That'll mean he's 2-10 over the last 10 games. How much goodwill will he get? He's got too much goodwill built up. Yeah, 2-10. That'll do it. He's built up too much goodwill. I'm going to play a game today. Hey, by the way, boy, I'll tell you what, man. One thing I got to teach my young guy, Xander Krause. When John McMullen and Jeff Kerr go knee deep into generational player that Micah Parsons isn't, Hoss, you need to step on their faces a little bit here. I mean, I wrote some names down, and I wrote some I'll show you what a generational player is. Okay? Let me do this here. I want to be as fair as I can here with Micah Parsons. Generational. We're not talking about just the guys playing today. Okay? He's saying generational Michael Parsons is. Like when you look at Michael Parsons, he changes the direction of a football game. Like when you watch a guy like it, here's the guys that changed the direction of a game. A Tyreek Hill, a Jefferson, an Aaron Donald, a Von Miller, a Lawrence Taylor, a Reggie, Jerry Rice, Brady. Those are generational players. All-time NFL sack leaders. And I wrote these names down, and I want to ask you something about Micah Parsons. And every time I hear John say that, Micah Parsons can't play the run. That's not a generational player. That's not a generational player. Generational players are like five-tool baseball players. They can do everything like Mays. Run, throw, catch, hit. All those guys. That's what you're talking about. Like a five-tool baseball player. Okay? Reggie White, Reggie's like one of those guys. Play the run. Can play inside. Can play the nose. You want to know what a generational football player is? Here's Reggie. Shit, you could have lined him up, standing up in today's outside linebackers and rushed him. A 300-pound guy at 6'6", you could have ran him off the corner the way you run Myles Garrett off the corner, and he would excel at that. Reggie White is one of the very few players you could play anywhere in the front seven. Probably playing him a tight end. That's a generational player, not a guy who can't play the run. Dude, Lane Johnson kills him. Trent Williams destroys him. It's not, hey, when you watch a guy get killed, so what is Lane? If Myles Garrett, or excuse me, Micah Parsons is a generational player, what's Lane? The best right tackle in the sport? He kills that guy. By the way, Lane's going to the Hall of Fame. Probably third ballot. Something in there. But he's going. Man, I don't get it. Now, let me throw these names at you. These are guys that I just wrote down. Now, John, I hear this comment by John all the time. It's a generational player. Okay, let's just take LT out of. I took linebackers, not guys like Reggie or Jack Youngblood or Deacon Jones, guys like that, because those are traditional defensive ends. This kid's not a traditional end. So I did more the linebacker guys blitzing from the outside and not like Max Crosby. I see you guys bring – Max is another great edge, and Nick Bosa too. Nick's more of a hand-down guy, and Micah Parsons is a hand-up guy. So I kind of looked at the hand-up guy. And I wrote down some of these names. And you tell me who you would take when it comes to generational player. Dude, do I even dare say Lawrence Taylor? Generational players, Lawrence Taylor. You can't just excuse him. Well, we won't mention him. Why? That's who all are gauged by. Dude, you're not even in the conversation talking about Micah Parsons and Lawrence Taylor. You think that guy's better than Derek Thomas? When you watch Derek Thomas play and rush the passer and play the run and run plays down from behind, do you see Micah Parsons and Derek Thomas? Do you see the same guy? I don't. I know and knew Derek Thomas. He's a South Florida kid. Played at Bama. Do you really think he's – I haven't even written this thing. You think that guy's Cornelius Bennett? Man, Biscuit could play the run. I don't see that. Is Aaron Donald generational? Yeah. From a defensive tackle position in pass rushing? Absolutely. I still think that I have question marks on if he's a complete guy when it comes to playing the run because he does get blown off the ball a little bit. But he's so dynamic in pass rushing. You think that guy is better than Von Miller? Like, if you were redrafting everyone, would you draft Von Miller or Micah Parsons as a generational player? Our John McMullen and Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports saying he's general. Would you really take Parsons over Von Miller? I wouldn't. Would you take Micah Parsons over Ricky Jackson? What did Ricky Jackson end up in sacks in his career? He had 140 sacks. He had 140 sacks. That guy looks like he's going to get 140 sacks. And get this. This is an era they didn't throw the ball as much as they do today. I mean, you think this, here's Julius Peppers, had 161 sacks. When you look at Micah Parsons, you see Julius Peppers? Do you really? I mean, God almighty, I don't. Now, maybe I'm a little prejudiced because these guys were during my era. I don't see this. Here, you think this guy's in the same room with Pat Swilling? What did Pat have in sacks? Pat had 108. From 86 to 98, 12 years, he had 100. This guy averaged like 9 sacks a year in his entire career. Strahan's more of an end. That's why I didn't put him in there. How about this? Would you take Khalil? How about Khalil Mack's career? Let me do that. Khalil Mack statistics. So let's take a look at Khalil Mack's first 4 years, 3. How many years has how many years has Khalil Mack? I mean, how many years has what's his name been in the league? Micah Parsons, 3 going on 4. So here's Khalil Mack's first years: 15 sacks, 11 and 10. This last year he had 17. He's been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's been in the league 10 years. And last year he had 17 sacks. You see him? How about Charles Haley? No way. Charles Haley was a game wrecker. Would you take him over Myles Garrett at any time in his career? How about even Kevin Green? Kevin Green is 4th in sacks in pro football history. Did you know that? He was 4th all-time sack leader. Kevin Green, let me put it up here. Kevin Green is 4th in sacks with 165 sacks. Only Deacon Jones and Reggie White and Bruce Smith have more. You look at that guy and go, that guy's that guy? I mean, I just named 10 guys I know. And I didn't even name the best pass rushers. J.J. Watt, I put him more as a traditional force with his hand down like Deacon and Reggie. Reggie White and Bruce Smith are the greatest pass rushers with guys who put their hand in the dirt of all time. And I think the 2 greatest pass rushers of all time that stood up are Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor. Those are the 2 best pass rushers I've ever seen. That guys that changed the position. Lawrence Taylor changed the way you played the position of outside linebacker. Reggie, they created rules. Like Reggie White is like the Shaquille O'Neal of defensive ends. That's how dominant he was. Guys, I think you've forgotten what generation. Hey, I love John McMullen. He does a spectacular job on this network. But I think John has forgotten what generational impact looks like. You had one in Philly, and there was one in New York. Those two guys, that's generational. Jerry Rice is generational. Nobody's ever going to get 200 touchdowns, even in today's era. That's not happening. Look at how many yards a Tyreek Hill gets every year. What's he getting touchdowns? 6. Rice had 19, 20, 18. This guy had 200 touchdowns, averaging 4 catches over 20 years. Think of that. He touched the ball 4 times, unlike running backs, and has the most touchdowns of any non-quarterback position of anybody in the league. That's generational. That's a generational football player. Those are the people we're talking about. Again, my assessment of Parsons. He's good at everything. He's not exceptional at anything. Is he a great pass cover guy? No. He's good. Is he a great pass rusher? No, because he's not consistent. Here's the thing that you game plan with Parsons. Lawrence Taylor, when you game planned him, you did this at any moment. Get this. The only person Randy Cross told me that Bill Walsh used to put on the board when it came to game planning in the Giants was number 56. He goes, 56 is here. And when he goes across over here, we got to keep an eye on him, Joe. I would audible out of that on wide side of the field. He would write 56 over here. He was the only guy that Bill Walsh would put on the board and identified him and says, you have to know where 56 is. I'll tell you another guy who's generational is Ed Reed. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick made a statement. They were doing that top 100 players. You have to know where Ed Reed is at all time. You have to know where 20 is. You had to know where he was because he could make a game play on you at any moment and change the game around. You had to know where he is. Again, my friend, M. Sip, Dawkins is great. He's no Ed Reed. Okay? He's no Ed Reed. Reed's better than Lott. Lott was not a traditional safety. He came into the league first as a corner out of Southern Cal. Troy Polamalu's fine ball player. These guys are not Ed Reed. They're just not Ed Reed, man. There's certain guys, and I'm not being biased with Ed when I say, even Peyton Manning says, the guy was a savant, and he can play, and he was spectacular on special teams. What about Terrell Owens being generational? I think Terrell Owens got hosed because he never had a quarterback for an extended period of time that could turn him into a generational player. I think he was a sensational talent that didn't have the quarterback. Like, hey, Philly, I'll make a comparison on Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is a big mouth Larry Fitzgerald. Larry never really had, outside of Kurt Warner. Carson Palmer was okay. Jake Plummer was okay. But those guys weren't generational quarterbacks. JM goes, Deion's the best corner of all time. Yeah, but you know one thing I always had a bitch about Deion? Guy couldn't crack an egg. He wasn't all around. Sensational cover corner. And sensational in special teams. Okay? I would make the comparison. T.O. was kind of like a Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald's a phenomenal Hall of Fame football player. T.O. was a physical specimen. He absolutely was. But generational? Name me one game that you remember that he took over that won you a significant ball game. He was great in the Super Bowl. He was. Wright said 200 yards in the Super Bowl. and was the Super Bowl most valuable player in that game in Miami when they came back when Montana drove him with 2 minutes left. Imagine this. Joe Montana doesn't win the most valuable player award in that game because you know why? Rice was so dominant. And he crushed the Bengals in that game. He was so dominant. He had 197 yards receiving. He didn't even make the game winner. John Taylor made the game winner. Montana was excellent in that game. Then again, Joe was excellent in all them games. Never threw a pick. They were stupid good. Moss was generational? Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, Moss did one thing, Norman, that always, I thought, crippled him. If the play wasn't his side, he took the play off. And he wasn't a very good decoy. So his team suffered on the other side when somebody was going to try to get the ball in and hurt the game plan of the Vikings. He did a better job of that when he got to New England. But if the play wasn't coming play side to him, he wasn't very good at it. Barry Sanders, generational? Yes. Yes. The modern-day Gale Sayers is Barry Sanders. Modern-day Gale Sayers. In college, he had 2,800 rushing yards. Imagine that. 28 rushing yards. And because he was such a phenomenal team guy, you know where he won the Heisman? He was in Japan. And he didn't want to leave his team because they were in some sort of bowl game. And he didn't go to the downtown athletic club because Barry Sanders didn't want to leave his Oklahoma State football team. And you got to remember something. His first couple of years, he was playing behind Thurman Thomas. They had Thurman Thomas and him in the backfield at Oklahoma State. I mean, that's like insane. And Barry Sanders is one of the best teammates I've ever had. I've never seen anybody like it. Genuine, just absolutely a great. LaDainian Tomlinson, phenomenal player. Generational? No. I saw Bo go into the Royals Hall of Fame. How about this, Charlie? Bo Jackson is a generational talent that we'll never see in the history of American sports ever again. You'll never see anything like him. You'll never see anything like Bo Jackson, ever. It's unfortunate that he'll never be in the Pro Football or Baseball Hall of Fame because he's worthy of both, but he just didn't play long enough. And when he got hurt in that Cincinnati playoff game with the Raiders, that was the end of it. You will never see. There's been no talent at running back ever that looks like him. I've never seen anything like it, and I've seen some of the greatest running backs, Eric Dickerson, Walter Payton. Bo Jackson was stupid. I mean, I played against him his freshman year at Auburn when I was at Maryland. We went up there. I've never seen a guy that fast, that big, at 240 pounds. He gets out in the perimeter. He ran 4 flats, 3 nines. Insanity. Dan, you are generational because of your work ethic and genuine talk working on the toughest sports market. Is Big Bill generational? Big Bill! He's working on it. By the way, my friend, you know what I love to do? You know what I'd like to do? I like to see everybody that's young and up and coming take their shot and take their 3 swings. I'm all for it, man. There's a lot of room for everybody. You don't have to be a jackass in this industry here. Don't forget, Xander's going to join us. We're going to do something here in a minute because I'm not taking a break. I like the fact we're getting out this 4th of July week this way. And I love talking about generational football players. And when, again, no disrespect. I'm not trying to diss John here, but man, I've seen too many. I've known too many. I've been around too many. Where when you walk in the room with Jerry Rice, that is something that you're like, or how about this? When you meet Jim Brown back in the day, and you were talking to Jim Brown, that's the people I talk to. Guys like that. Big Seal's got a picture of him sacking Montana. When you're playing against people like Peyton, and you see these guys, and then you see Michael Parsons, I get offended by that because I've seen generational. I know what it looks like. I've been on the field with it. I've been in a huddle with it. Dude, when you get into a huddle with Randy White, okay, and you're in the huddle with Randy White, and you're there, I got a picture of me and Ed Jones and Randy White. I'm here at minicamp. Derek Thomas, please like and subscribe. Phenomenal, man. What a ball player. When you're in the huddle with Randy White and you see Randy and you're talking to him, just being around him, you see the little things that you didn't even know what you were talking about or knew, and you just watched it the way he just alignment-wise. First, second down, he'd line closer up to the ball. Third down, he'd get a little bit more because he wanted more space to do more moves because of the traffic inside and how much traffic that you had to deal with the center and the guard tackle. He wanted a little more space to operate, so he'd back up. First and second, he'd scoot up a little, move over on the 3, slide it to a 1, especially if it was going to be a weak side. And you're watching this guy do this, and you're like, I didn't know any of that. You pick these little nuances of the game up. Just being around him and watching him. We're talking with Howie Long. And Howie, hey, let me tell you something. You go to a camp, like I said, Jerome, this guy here. So I go up to Philly. What do you guys call that thing? The flats? Am I right? The plateau, the flats, whatever it was. You guys had a camp there. And Reggie was there with Clyde Simmons, and they were putting this camp on. And I'm sitting there. I'm there, and I think Hardy Nickerson's with me from the Bucks. I think we had Hardy Nickerson, and he had just coming over from the Steelers, I think. And I think we had a couple other guys from the Bucks that came up, and we went to this thing. Is that what it's called? It's called the Flats? Like something. They had a camp there. I'm watching Reggie talk to these young kids, and you're just listening to him talk and how he looks at the defensive line position. I walk up to him. I go, hey, that hump move. He goes, you got to get it. You have to throw your hip into it. I never could get it down. Now, the guy was 6'6". That's why. This guy's teaching the hump move to young high school prospects when most pros can't even do that. Incredible. Reggie White was so complex, but my God. You know, the first time I met him, a lot of those Hall of Famers comes from the USFL. Disciple, absolutely. You know when the first time I met him, Disciple, was my freshman year. We played a bowl game against Tennessee, and he was on that Tennessee team that beat us. Boomer Esiason was the quarterback of that Maryland team that I was on. We had won the ACC, and we've got a chance to play in the Citrus Bowl. And Reggie's team played in that game. I think they finished second in the Southeastern Conference. So we played them. They beat us by 7 or what have you. But you know what they did? They opened up it was the first year of Ed Cobb. They opened up Disney, and we hung around with the Tennessee guys. And I got a chance to hang around with, you guys know Charles Davis, the broadcaster? He was on that team. Me and him have been friends ever since. And I got a chance to hang around. That's where I met Reggie. I didn't meet Reggie through Jerome. I met Reggie through the Citrus Bowl. When we played at the Citrus Bowl in '83. What a great ball player, man. I'm going to do something here before we get Xander on at the bottom of the hour here. I've been saying something. I have a vintage Jerome Brown jersey from 1989. Whew. Good for you, Nick. Old Kelly Green, or was it a white one? Which one? Seals, unfortunately, over time, meanings of words change. So they can use to include things that are close to generational. It's one of those words. Hey, word one. I got it, Bob. You're right. The word generational seems to be, or like when you're using the word elite, there's one elite quarterback in this sport. He's a guy in Kansas City. There's no elite club. Everyone's elite that won a Super Bowl. That's the elite club. If you're going to here, you know what? You want to know what an elite quarterback is in this league? If you have a Super Bowl ring and you're going to the Hall of Fame. Because if you just have one or the other, doesn't quite make you elite, does it? But if you've got both, a Super Bowl ring and a Hall of Fame ring, you're elite. Dan Marino's not elite. Elite talent, but he's not elite. He's not in that group. Super Bowl ring, Hall of Fame ring. You're elite for what your team needed. Warren Moon, amazing player and one of my dearest friends. He's not an elite guy. He's not an elite guy. I mean, until you win them and get them both, you could be an elite talent, get to the NFL. Sales, dead serious. I still can't grasp 2024 Norman Brayman let Reggie White talk. I just still can't get over it. I think it had a lot to do with Reggie's religion, and I always thought Norman thought he was anti-Semitic. Reggie may have said some things that floated on that line. Reggie didn't have a hateful bone in his body. Like this, I've tried talking to Norman about that. Norman thought his best days were behind him, thought he was. Joe Flacco's not getting a Hall of Fame ring. He's not getting a Hall of Fame ring. And nor is Brad Johnson. Hey, yeah, Sip. I tried talking to Norman. Norman's still alive down in Miami. Brayman Auto. Love the guy. But, I tried telling him numerous times. That guy didn't have a hateful bone in his body. His religious convictions kind of sometimes jade the vocabulary that he had and how he expressed himself. He was just different, man. Reggie's just a different dude. All right. You guys think you're a better talent than the Dallas Cowboys? I heard the guys talking on Birds 365 this morning that you are better, have a better roster than the Cowboys. You think you guys have a better roster than the Cowboys? Twist says absolutely. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, let's match that up. Let's see how many advantages you have over this Cowboy roster on offense and defense and coaching. Okay? Then we'll add it up. Where do you want to start first, offense or defense? Where do you want to start first? Offense or defense? We're gonna line up advantages. Okay? On offense and defense, and at the end of the day, we'll add it up right now, as Lane Johnson says, on paper. Start on defense. Offense. What do you think we should do here, Xander? You make the call here. You want to do offense or defense first? Where the Eagles have the advantage over the Dallas Cowboys. As Lane Johnson says, on paper. Okay? Xander says, I'm going to go with O. Lamb will request a trade if he doesn't get $32 million. All right. So let's start it here with the offense. And I'm going to go Philly. I haven't done this yet. Dallas? Let's do this. Quarterback. Who has the advantage? By the way, he's 9-4. Dak is versus the Eagles. And he finished second in the MVP. Sam goes, Jalen's gone further. I'll take Jalen. You mean the team's gone further? Okay. Played good in the Super Bowl, too. Being fair here. See, I think Dallas has the advantage at quarterback. Head-to-head matchups, I'll take Dak. Record proves it. I think it's close. He's got more skill as a thrower, passer, for sure. Led the NFL in touchdown passes last year. And 9-4 versus the Eagles in his career. I mean, right? And you got one more win than him in the playoffs than Dak does. Dak's got 2, you got 3. And by the way, this is head-to-head matchup. Head-to-head matchup. We're comparing the teams. Now, I'll tell you something that I will say. Over a season, and I would make this comment to you. Jalen has a chance this year to right the ship, too. You kind of know who Dak is. I still want to see where he is. If Jalen Hurts comes back and looks like 22 in a better version of the 23 offense, and he's putting numbers up in 24, the 2023 season will be excused. Philly goes, Dak has 9 years. Well, that's why I say he's better. He's got more of a litmus test over that time. He's put up great numbers. As a matter of fact, over the last 50 games, he's given you Patrick Mahomes regular season football. Gatson says Jalen will get a ring. Well, wake me up when that happens. So Dallas gets the advantage in my book. Running back. Let's go here. Running back. Zeke versus Barkley. I don't think this is close. I think this is Philadelphia. I think Zeke Elliott's a relic. I think he's a relic. Sip goes, I agree with that, Sills. Upcoming season will answer a boatload of questions for Jalen Hurts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dude, Jalen can erase the entire 23 season with a great performance this coming year. No doubt about it. How about this? Dak doesn't have much room to move. Jalen has a ton of room to move. Fair? Okay. Wide receiver. And I get slot versus on the numbers. However, the biggest playmaker on the team is CeeDee Lamb versus A.J. Brown. Sorry. Philly has the advantage here. A.J., in my opinion, is a bigger game wrecker and a bigger game star than CD. I don't think CD's bad, but if you're going to tell me, Sills, who you drafting, A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb? I'm going CeeDee Lamb. Or excuse me, I'm going A.J. Brown. So Eagles get the advantage at wide receiver. 1. Wide receiver 2. Brandon Cooks versus Devontae Smith. I'm not sure that's a debate. Philadelphia. It's 4-1 so far. Okay? Jalen Tolbert, wide receiver versus Paris Campbell. How about we do a push here? How about we do a push? Because you really don't do anything with the position, and Dallas doesn't either. So wide receiver 3, can we do push? They both suck, and nobody uses them. Push. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Tight end. Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas has the advantage here. 71 catches, over 780 yards last year. He's consistently getting better. He's always on the field for Dallas. He's good in the run game. Okay, I'm going to take Jake Ferguson here. Left tackle. Tyler Guyton versus Jordan Mailata. I don't believe that's close. I think that's Philly. Left guard, Tyler Smith. I believe that's the Cowboys. Tyler Smith is better than Landon Dickerson, but it's this close. He's the best guard in the league. Bob goes, wait a minute, Sills. You said Goddard was a top 5 tight end. Yeah, he is when you play. Got to be on the field, Bob. Center. I'm going to put the rookie for the Cowboys in here. Cooper Beebe versus Cam Jurgens. I'm going Cam Jurgens. I don't think that's close. We'll see what that kid looks like. Right guard, Zach Martin, Cowboys all day. Right tackle. Lane, all day long. So, the offense, let's see here. Yeah, Lane gets that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So it comes down to Philly had 7 pluses on offense. Cowboys had 4. Let's do the defense now. Dude, Dallas has got 2 premium offensive linemen on their team. That doesn't mean you don't have a better group than Dallas, because I don't think their right tackle and their left tackle are in the room with Mailata and Lane. As a group, you're better. You're top 3. But you still have to go. Tyler Smith is the best guard in the game. He's rated that. And Zach's a Hall of Famer. Okay, here's your defense. DeMarcus Lawrence versus Milton Williams. That's the Cowboys. Lawrence is better than Milton Williams. Not that Williams is bad. Chauncey Golston versus Jordan Davis. That's a push. Jordan Davis was a worthless human being in the second half of the season. Golston and that front 4 got ran over too. Okay, they got ran over in Buffalo, Arizona, the Niners. Hoss, Philly, I'm just going to take what Brian Baldinger said. Brian Baldinger said that Jordan Davis shouldn't have been in uniform the last 7 weeks of the season. Okay? He said that too. So I'm going to go push here. Right tackle, because I'm putting these guys in a 43. Ozzie versus Jalen Carter. I'm going Jalen Carter. Micah Parsons versus Josh Sweat. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm going Parsons. Right? Parsons here. Damon Clark versus Bryce Huff. Who do you got here? Bryce Huff has never started a down in the National Football League. Damon Clark, Will linebacker, versus Bryce Huff, Philly. Huff? I'll go Philly. Eric Kendricks, inside linebacker. Devin White. I'll take Kendricks. Cowboys. Marist versus Nolan Smith. Take the Cowboys. Now we get to the secondary. Deron Bland versus Quinyon Mitchell. Cowboys. Guy hasn't played it down. Donovan Wilson, safety, versus Gardner Johnson. Look at Joseph. How could you take Mitchell over a first-team All-Pro who's never played? Honestly. How could you do that? I get Gardner Johnson. Malik Hooker versus Reed Blankenship. Hooker, Cowboys. Trayvon Diggs versus Slay. Diggs. So, comes out 7-4 on defense, Cowboys. Let's do coaching. Mike McCarthy, OC head coach over Nick. No brainer. Mike. Mike Zimmer and Vic. I think that's a push. I think both guys are really good. Cut from the same thing. One guy's got a Super Bowl ring, the other guy doesn't. Okay? So, you were 7-4 offense and 4-7 defense. That's closer than you think, isn't it? Especially when you line some of these people up here. And some of the lack of experience. Now, look, do I think that Mitchell or someone can be better than Deron Bland by the end of the year? Absolutely. But if you're going to put Isaiah Rodgers out there, who hasn't played in a year, if you're going to put Quinyon Mitchell, who's never played a pro down in his life, or if you're even going to put Keely Ringo, who's never had significant playing time, versus a first-team All-Pro, even though I think those 7 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns he had on returns kind of jaded the voting for him, I do. He's still better than what you have. Now, who's got more upside? Absolutely, Philly does. You know, again, like the quarterback conversation, it's not really a rip on Jalen. Jalen's been too up and down. Dak is, we know who Dak is. Like, Dak's not going to be a 5,500-yard passer, all of a sudden turn himself into Joe Montana or Tom Brady. That's who that guy is. I'm waiting to see who Jalen turns himself into. 22, 23, 21. Who? You still don't know that yet. You're assuming that. You don't have to assume who Dak is. You know what he is. He's consistently going to put you up big numbers. He's consistently going to challenge the Eagles. And he does. And he has. And he's won. It's not, again, remember my conversation, how it started. I matched the Cowboys up versus Philly. I didn't say how they're going to do this year, what record they're going to have. I went talent for talent. This has nothing to do with who's going to beat San Francisco or Detroit or Green Bay. Has nothing to do with that. That's not what the exercise was. So I'm not moving the goalpost here. Who's the better talent at the position versus your guy? Everyone assumes the Eagles are so far ahead of the – I did too. that I did too. Until I really looked at it and went back and forth and said, well, Dallas clearly has the advantage on defense. Why? And I even questioned myself, and I go, well, why would I say that? Well, there's so many unknowns over there in Philly's side. Did Jalen make the Pro Bowl last year? I think he did. I think Dak, if I'm not mistaken, I think Dak was either second or third team All-Pro last year. Dak led the NFL. Remember something, finished second in the MVP voting. Seals, if you go back to your companions and give them a spread, 1 is a slight gap and 5 is a huge gap. Philly wins. Our advantages are greater than their advantages. Your wide receiver advantages are sensational. They have you on edge rushers. Dallas has better edge rushers than you. More experienced and more established. Mike says Cowboys' depth is trash. Like yours is great, especially in the front 7. Shit, if anything, your linebacking core, like we said last week, might not be all that bad because they're all kind of the same dude. Running back is a big significant difference, absolutely. Dude, Rico Baldwin and Zeke, give me a break. You know what I'm saying? Give me a break. All right. Don't forget at 4:30, our good friend Gary Cobb from Fox 29, former Eagle himself, will jump aboard with us. Please hit the like button. Our friend Xander joins us now, co-host of Birds 365. And those guys had a great conversation with Jeff Kerr this morning. And, you know, I'm just going to do this. You had a chance. the Devontae Smith softball thing, to tee something up and go, you guys are out of your mind. Tell that guy Sileo he's full of shit. This is a Sileo thing. There's no problem between me and Nick. Here's Jalen. Thought he was Joe Biden. I'm like, dude, answer something here. Tell me what we don't. Tell me something that you could have corrected. Another T-ball moment, and he slips right through it. Now, look, again, it's a charity event. I'm not looking for him to kind of crack the code here. But holy cow, learn to be the face of the franchise.
Hurts wasn't asked the question, though, right? It was Devontae Smith who was asked the question.
But why not him have – hey, really? They set everything up like Mr. Bob Lang. I know he had to have been there. Why didn't he at least address it and go like this? Hey, you know that stuff that went on? You guys made that up. The guy that Devontae tweeted at Sileo, he made that up. All those guys too. Jeff Kerr made it up. Jeff McClain made it up. All those guys made it up. Here it is again. Chance to kind of set the record straight. This guy just won't do it.
Yeah, they didn't give him the chance, and whatever. I thought Devontae's handling of it was good, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And Jalen's not a media guy. He's not going to fish out the media, especially in his 7 off weeks of the year when he doesn't have to deal with us knuckleheads. And he opted to not go that route, and you're going to kill him for it, and I'm not.
Yeah, I'm going to kill him for it because that guy is expected to set records straight for his team going into camp. Dude, being the face of the franchise, it's more than just playing on Sundays.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And there's also an obligation to handle the outside noise. That's part of handling the rat poison is mitigating what people talk about. And he didn't do a good job at that, but whatever, man. Go out and throw 30 touchdowns and 4,000 passing yards and win 12, 13 ball games. I don't give a hell what you say about Nick Sirianni. I really don't. I mean, good Lord, Big Cells.
I want to play the game with you here.
Oh, let's do it.
I want to play the game I just played here with you. Because I guarantee you, watch this one here, folks. This thing here to me was pretty right down the middle. Okay? It was like 11-11, man. And the difference came in coaching, in my opinion, when it came to rosters. And before we even do this exercise, you really believe that the Eagles have a better roster, 53-man, and starting 22 than the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, and you do too.
No, I don't. I don't think you have a better defense than
them. You had the Cowboys winning how many games this year?
Oh, I don't really think I think you're going to be right there with them.
You think So where are the wins coming in the NFC East? Nobody's going to win any games?
It's going to be one of the worst divisions in the league.
Wow. All right. Well, I don't think so at all. I think the Eagles have a great roster. They don't have great depth.
Wait a minute.
They have a great roster.
How do you know you? Okay, let's do this thing.
All right, let's do it.
Mr.
Dallas is having 5 wins this year. Mr. Shredding Mark Holmes. Mr. The Cowboys stink this year. Mr. I don't know what they're doing. Now they're going to be good?
No,
now they have a better roster.
Who said I thought they were going to be good? No, this is not who's going to be good.
You're telling me
who has the advantage.
Have a worse roster than the Dallas Cowboys.
This is who has the advantage at every position.
All right, let's go. Let's play.
All right.
Let's do it.
Prescott, runner-up in the MVP, led the NFL in passing touchdowns versus your boy, Jalen Hurts. Who has the advantage in this one? And he's 9-4 versus the Eagles.
I'll go Dak on this. I think Dak is a slightly better quarterback, but that doesn't mean I don't think we can win with Jalen Hurts. I'll take Dak.
I think Jalen's got more of a chance to overcome that because you know why? Isn't this year finding out who he really is?
Wait, this is a better roster debate, though. This is not what guy would I take because I'm not sold I would take Dak Prescott. I think he's a better talent, but he hasn't proven to win the big game. He hasn't even proven to show up in the big game. I do think he's a highly talented player. I'll give him credit for that. I think he's got a little bit more talent in terms of being a quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I think I'll still take Hurts, but for the sake of this conversation, Dak Prescott can take the win on this.
Running back, Zeke or Barkley?
Barkley, all day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, not close. Now, look, I know CD plays out of the slot. I'm going more with how they look at AJ and CD as their big playmaking guy. And CD or AJ, who has the advantage here?
A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's a top 3 receiver in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb is a great player. I do not view him as a top 3 player in the NFL, a top 3 receiver in the NFL. I mean, I can rattle off 5 guys in my head right now that I would take in front of CeeDee Lamb, and I think he's a good player. But A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, I mean, I would even take, who's the dude that just got signed down in Detroit? I like that guy. I mean, he's like, they're similar to me. St. Brown, exactly. So I'm not really, I like CD, but no, A.J. Brown all day.
Brandon Cooks, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, in my opinion, is probably the first or second best wide receiver 2 in the NFL.
So you think he's better than Brandon Ayuk?
I think he's right there. I think they're them, and then who else has a really stacked?
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins I don't think he's I think he's a little bit lower than Devontae Smith, I would say. I think Devontae has more of an upside. Remember, Devontae is also playing with A.J. Brown and with a quarterback that is more of a playmaking style than a passing style. So imagine Devontae Smith as a wide receiver 1. Imagine Devontae Smith in Dallas instead of CeeDee Lamb as the only option. I think he's getting 2,000 yards. I think he's doing the same thing CeeDee Lamb does. I think he's that good. Definitely Devontae Smith.
I'd like to see Devontae and AJ get in that slot and see what they can do against them safeties.
Yeah,
I don't think they can cover them.
I think you'll see it this year with Kellen Moore. I think that's where Kellen Moore is going to make this offense better. Yeah, I'm going Devontae Smith there, though. He would be great in the slot. He's great all over the field. He's just one of those guys.
Billy 500 in the building in here, folks. Way to go,
what up,
brother.
500?
He's in the building in here. This is where you and I are probably going to disagree. Jake Ferguson, tight end, 71 catches, 780 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns versus Dallas Goedert. Who has the advantage?
I'm taking Dallas Goedert. Player to player, I'll take Ferguson. That. Yeah, but you're only taking Ferguson. That's because of the quarterback.
I'm taking Ferguson because he's reliable.
Well, that's fair. Dallas Goedert's a better player, though. He's got more of a skill set. He can do more on the field
too, but you got to be reliable. You got to be on the field.
That's fair. I'll take it. I'll agree to disagree. Okay. And I respect Jake Ferguson. I think he's a good player. So I could see where you're coming from. I'll go Dallas Goedert there.
Okay. Left tackle, Tyler Guyton, Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Mailata, baby. Tyler Guyton, unproven.
This was a tough one for me. I took Tyler Smith because he's the #1 rated guard in the National Football League. And guess who's second? It's Landon Dickerson. So it's like these two dudes. Like, watch this. Who don't you want? I'm
taking Big Country, baby.
You could
taking Big Country. I'm taking Landon, baby.
Put a push here because they're both right there. I mean, you could actually.
Yeah, I'll take Landon, man. Big Country. I love his attitude. I love how he plays the game. I love his physicalness. I love his ability to stick. He's one of those guys.
Tyler was the All-Pro though.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's a push. He's a great player.
Yeah.
I'll take Landon just because he's my guy, and I opt to go for him.
My guy, Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe versus Cam Jurgens. Center.
Cam Jurgens has played games in the NFL and has hung up. I haven't seen it yet from Cooper Beebe, so we'll see.
That's right. I'll take Philly. The other guy was an All-Pro. I'll take Jurgens too. Zach Martin versus Steen. Come on, man. Martin's going to Hall of Fame.
Zach Martin's an unbelievable player. Definitely got the advantage there. Tyler Steen, I mean, talk about unproven. Very unproven. So, I'll go Zach Martin.
I like that right guard combination over there with Trevor Keegan and Micaiah Becton and Tyler Steen.
I don't even want to see Tyler Steen. I'm not even going to lie to you. I have this thought. Well, no, just because in my head, I have now thought about the potential of Micaiah Becton
being over there.
And I'm thinking of this, and I'm looking at that offensive line hypothetically in my head, and I'm like, man, forget Tyler Steen. Get Micaiah Becton in there. If he can play guard, put him in there. That's a nasty offensive line, man. Saquon Barkley could have a crazy year with that type of offensive line. So in my head, I'm kind of like not out on Steen. I'm going to give him a chance, but you know what I mean? I'm just in love with the idea of Micaiah Becton being there.
Obviously, Terrence Steele and Lane, you're going Lane. I'm going Lane too.
Yeah. Duh.
Now, remember something here. Even though the Cowboys, in my opinion, you don't agree, had the advantage player matchup-wise as a unit, it's not close. Okay, you know what I'm saying? The Eagles have a much better across the board because look, Dickerson and Smith right here. Well, okay, Jurgens is better, I think, by a lot. The left tackle is better, I think, by a lot, and the right tackle is better by a lot.
Yeah, and then also group them.
And the two guards are good.
Yeah, but group them. Ready?
Oh yeah, group them on the Eagles.
Who's got the better wide receiving core? Eagles by a landslide. Who has the better overall offensive line? Eagles by a pretty long shot. Who has the better running back room? Eagles. Who has the better tight end? Eagles.
Hold on. That's not the exercise here. Hang on here now. We're matching up going across the board here.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So, my eyes, it came out 7-4. You think it's more like 8-3.
Did I have 3 Dallas wins? I guess I had Prescott, Zach Martin, and who else?
Oh, okay. You only had 2, so you had 9.
9-2, baby.
Yeah, I had 7-4. Crazy.
9-2, and it's really 9-1, and 1 is a push because Dak Prescott may be a better player, but the guy can't win in the playoffs. Who wants a quarterback that can throw the ball all over the yard?
That's not the exercise.
I know it's not the exercise, but
Eagles
I can't.
Versus Cowboys.
Who wants a quarterback that doesn't show up when the lights are the brightest?
Hold on. Look at here. Okay. Now let's do this one. Let's do your defense here. Now, since you graded so hard, I'm going to grade harder now. DeMarcus Lawrence, Milton Williams. Who you got, Xander?
Why is DeMarcus Lawrence matched up with Milton Williams?
We're going to go 43 here. Across the board, edge rushing.
Yeah, well, DeMarcus Lawrence is a better player than Milton Williams. Now, how old is DeMarcus Lawrence?
Who cares? Milton Williams has never played that position in his entire career out there.
Yeah, D-Law's 32 years old. He's probably going to take a big drop off this year. That's kind of an unfair comparison, though, because Milton Williams is not.
You're not going to take Milton Williams over.
Milton Williams is not going to play on the outside much at all. Maybe 10, 15% of the snaps. Maybe.
They got him listed right now as an end.
Well, he's not going to be an end. You got Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, and then you have Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham. He's not going to play.
So who are your 43 ends? Your 43 ends are going to be Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, and your interior tackles, if you're in a 43, are going to be Davis and Carter.
So you think they're not going to have Bryce Huff on the field if they're in a 43?
No, I didn't say that. They're going to put him at strong side linebacker outside.
Okay. All right.
And they're going to put Nolan on the other side.
All right. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Chauncey
I still don't like that comparison, but all right.
He got killed in it. That's why you don't like it. I know.
No, I don't like it because it's not what the player is.
I know somebody else who doesn't
player
like
is depth at the defensive tackle position, and he's a great depth piece at defensive tackle. That's what he is. But I get
Chauncey Golston, left defensive tackle versus Jordan Davis. Who do you got?
Jordan Davis. I don't even know. Who's the other dude?
Chauncey Golston.
Good player?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you can replace him with a guy from the recess yard.
So
he's just a guy. Don't try and sell me on Chauncey Golston. I never even heard the name.
You know how you know he's lying? Because he goes like this, Jordan Davis. He looks away when he does it. So that's when you know he's not telling the truth. Dude, this guy was a non-factor in the second half of the season, Jordan Davis.
Okay, and what exactly was Chauncey Golston?
Well, he showed up at least and played. How many sacks did Chauncey Golston have last year? Let's take a look at his numbers compared to
1.5 sacks. Oh, he's a burner.
What did Jordan Davis have?
He is striking fear in the eyes of the opponent.
What did Jordan Davis have?
Chauncey, watch out, Eagles fans. Watch out, everybody. Dallas could be making a run this year. They have Chauncey
let's take a look at this. I think your boy had 19 tackles last year. Okay, so this guy here had how many? Okay, last season he had 25 tackles, 1.5
11
sacks.
solo tackles, 14 assisted, 1.5 sacks.
What's your boy have? Let's take a look. Jordan Davis last year and that greatness. Jordan Davis stats.
Chauncey Golston out of Iowa. Big Sills is telling me that.
Woo, wait a minute.
Golston.
That gets swayed back here. Hold on here for a minute. Hold on here. Jordan Davis gets the advantage here. He gets the advantage.
Yeah, even Big Sills is giving Jordan Davis the advantage.
He is. He had 45 tackles last year. Wow. Actually, that's better than I thought of a better season.
Yeah, and a lot of his – it's good. It's good. That's what I mean. Jordan Davis is developing nicely. Everyone's looking for the splash plays, and he's not as much of a splash player. He's playing more nose. He's not going to make splash plays, but what's his impact on the game? How much is he freeing up, people from blocking Jalen Carter? How much is he making life easier for the guys on the edge? He's got a different role. Jordan Davis is progressing nicely. I think he's going to have a big year this year.
Excuse me, Prince. He had 2 sacks, Dick. Do your homework. All right. Micah Parsons versus Josh Sweat.
Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons definitely has him beat there. I'm not I've been a little bit underwhelmed and very underwhelmed actually by Josh Sweat. The guy's a prototypical edge rusher. He should be playing lights out football, and he just never turned the corner. He's streaky. He's inconsistent. He has all the tools in the toolbox to be a great player. Hasn't quite put it all together. Kind of reminds me of Derek Barnett. Like, not that bad. I get it. He's been a little better. But Derek Barnett was never, awful. I know we had crazy expectations because he was a 14 overall pick. But that's kind of what he reminds me of. Just a guy who hasn't quite turned the corner, hasn't quite lived up to the potential, and hasn't been what we've been wanting him to be in Philadelphia. So definitely Micah Parsons on that one.
Okay. Hey, Maniac, we don't do punters and kickers here, guy. That's not part of pro football, okay? They're not football players, my friend. All right. Will linebacker, Damon Clark versus Bryce Huff.
Who is it? Damon Clark?
Yes.
I'm going to go Bryce Huff, I think. Let me look up Damon Clark's stats here.
Yeah, look.
0 sacks last year. He had 109 total tackles, 70 solo. That's pretty good play. That's pretty good. It's not great, but it's not bad.
And your guy had 19 tackles.
Yeah. Are they playing different positions somewhat, though?
Well, that's because we're putting him in a 43.
Yeah, no, I get it. Because of the defense that we're doing for the exercise. They're different. So it's tough to compare the two.
One guy's a pass rusher. The other guy's not a run stopper. The other guy's more of a run stopper than the guy who's he's more like a Kaiser White kind of guy.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's not really a great comparison. I'll still take Bryce Huff because I value getting to the quarterback. And his pressure rate was amazing. His pass rush win rate was amazing. I know it hasn't been full yet. He hasn't had the chance to be a full-time guy yet. He hasn't started, so I understand those reservations. But based on what I've seen, based on what I think he can be, I'll take Bryce Huff. I'm optimistic on him. I'm definitely still concerned, that we're not going to replace the production of Hassan Reddick with him. But I think he's going to be a good player, so we'll see what he's able to do in a full-time role.
I'm taking Eric Kendricks, middle linebacker, over Devin White.
Yeah, me too. I'll take him for sure. Just haven't seen it from Devin White in 4 years. It's tough to go off the first year of his career coming out of LSU, and he was really a game wrecker. Obviously a 5th overall pick. Linebackers don't get picked that high. So he was obviously that good of a player early in his career. But we've had 4 straight years now of very, very underwhelming play. So we have to see it with him. I'm not fully sold Devin White will be the guy. I'm optimistic, but we haven't seen it in a while. So let's see it first.
Strong side linebacker, I'll take anyone over Nolan Smith, but I want to know what the numbers of Maris Luafu are for the Cowboys. Marist Liofau before I make that proclamation here. Because Nolan Smith, in my opinion, has got a lot of work to do before we start talking about what kind of football player this guy's going to be. Nolan Smith, in my opinion, again, has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Maris Liofau is a rookie. He's coming in. He was drafted in the 3rd round this year, so we'll see what he's able to do.
Oh, wait, that's a push.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it's a push. You can't give it to Nolan Smith, but to be fair.
But I can't give it to the other kid.
You definitely can't give it to the other kid. Nolan Smith at least played snaps in the NFL. I'll give him the edge.
True. Deron Bland or Quinyon Mitchell?
So you have Quinyon as our starting corner?
Okay, or Isaiah Rodgers, who hadn't played last year.
Yeah.
Plus, this guy's first team All-Pro.
You got to get Deron Bland there. Even if you go Deron versus Keeley, you got to take Deron. He's proven it in the NFL, played at a high level. Even Deron over Isaiah, haven't seen it in a year. Isaiah's a young player, pretty unproven. Honestly, only had a year or two of playing good football. And over Quinyon hasn't played a snap. So you got to take Deron Bland in that
one. Donovan Wilson or Gardner Johnson? Gardner Johnson didn't play at all last year. And Donovan Wilson, I believe, was a Pro Bowl consideration guy. If I'm not, either it was him or Malik Hooker. Because one of those guys I thought was a Pro Bowler last year. Because they got a bunch of Pro Bowlers in that secondary. Donovan Wilson, strong safety, Dallas Cowboys, or Gardner Johnson?
Going off potential, I think I'll take Gardner Johnson. But I guess if you're going off of last year, Donovan Wilson had a better year. I mean, he played, I don't know, let me look up what his stats were last year and how many games. He played 15 games last year, 88 total tackles, down from 101, 55 solo, down from 77 the year before. So he kind of went backwards a little bit last year. He had 5 sacks and 22, 0 last year. Maybe they used him differently in a new defense down there. But, going off potential, I'll take CJ. I think CJ is a bigger upside player.
88 tackles is a lot for a safety.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
I'm taking Malik Hooker, free safety, over Reed Blankenship.
Wait, who are you taking, Donovan Wilson or CJ?
That's closer than I thought, what you said. Because he's so much out of position a lot of the time, Gardner Johnson, but he's a playmaker.
Right. That's his style of play. You're right.
But he's a guy who makes up for it, making big plays. You know what I mean?
He kind of has the Deron Bland, Trevon Diggs.
Yeah.
They make big plays, but they also get burnt. The year Trevon Diggs led the league in interceptions, he also led the league in getting absolutely cooked on the deep ball because he was jumping too many routes. So, there's give and take with all that stuff. So I think
Donovan Wilson's a better all-around player, but I think Gardner Johnson's a better big game player.
That's fair.
Playmaker.
Yeah, better playmaker. Yeah, look at Philly 500. 88 tackles for a safety means the guys up front are not doing their job. Mozzie, where are you, Mozzie?
CJ. All right. I'm taking Malik Hooker over Reed.
Yeah, definitely. Malik Hooker's
he's a Pro Bowler, right?
Yeah,
Malik Hooker's a Pro Bowler.
He's a legit player. Reed, Ed Reed Blankenship. Check it out. Ed Reed Blankenship. That's what folks are calling him nowadays, I guess. Sills. Now I'll take Malik there. Yeah, that's a Cowboy win.
And then Trayvon Diggs versus Slay. I got Diggs.
Yeah, I got Diggs. I got Diggs there as well. Yeah, I like Trevon Diggs. I think he provides you a big spark that you need every once in a while on defense. I know he gets burned on the big play every once in a while, but I can live with that when you make the kind of plays he does. Now, if you're going off last year, because you used this against CJ, you use this against a couple of other guys, how many games did Trevon Diggs play last year?
Goose egg.
No, He got hurt in the training camp, didn't he?
Something like that.
So he hasn't played.
They had Stephon Gilmore out there who did a really nice job.
Yeah, he did he's a great player, obviously older on the back end of his career, but still an amazing player. But Diggs didn't play last year. So let's see. How's he going to come back from the injury? Is he going to come back and be the same player? We don't know that.
So you think a 34-year-old corner is going to outplay a guy?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's not the slam dunk that it would have been if we did this exercise a year ago before he got hurt.
So it looks to me the Cowboys have the advantage on defense here. And wait, I got one more to go.
Breaking news: the Eagles don't have an advantage on defense. I knew this.
Hold on. Go get your panties in a bind, Mr. Kelly Green. Head coach Mike McCarthy, OC head coach versus Nicky.
You got to go Mike. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl ring. I know it's a long time ago, and I know he's got a lot of things where you just shake your head as a head coach in his career. But I don't know. Wait. I want to hear who you're picking and why, because you can make a case for Nick. He's got only 3 years, so he doesn't quite have the tenure, but he's got an NFC title. He's got an appearance in the Super Bowl. He won the NFC East, and he's got a 66 winning percentage. That's pretty good.
Okay.
I know we have our gripes with him. I get it. I'm with you on them.
Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl as a head football coach, play calling guy.
Yeah, and how many years did he play with Aaron Rodgers? The guy was very underwhelming.
Oh, so if he wins it, now we're going to quantify it. Is that what we're saying here? If he wins the Super Bowl, so that's like me saying, well, this guy went to the playoffs 3 years in a row, went to a Super Bowl, but he sucks too. So which metric are we using here? The Nick Sirianni metric? Well, what Nick's done. This guy, what he did doesn't matter. Okay.
I didn't say I gave him the win because of it. I'm just saying you can't give him the credit without adding the context.
Can I tell you why?
He was largely underwhelming as the Green Bay Packers head coach, and he's made some questionable moves in Dallas.
And that guy over there on that side of the ball over there doesn't make. I mean, if it's not for Big Dom, they got to come down with a guy in a straitjacket to put the guy in a straight. They got to put him in an asylum or something because Big Dom is the guy controlling the guy on the sidelines. Well, let me throw something here about Mike.
But you can't lead up.
Mike has
coached won 14 ball games last year.
Mike has coached the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, the two most difficult franchises to coach. You know why? Green Bay doesn't have an owner.
And Green Bay doesn't have one. Yep.
They've got a board of directors that they have to answer to. And in Dallas, you got to waffle around Jerry. And they've won 36 games since he's been the head football coach there. I get it. The knockouts are terrible looking for Dallas in his first 3 years.
How many years has he been quite frankly,
Nick's had 1 year in Philly that was really good when it came to being the head coach. Remember something? He was fighting for his job, though.
Yeah, I mean, last year, he's got a lot of wins, man. How many wins did you say Mike McCarthy has?
36 since he's been there, I think.
And how many years is that? 4?
Well, how many years has he been there? Is it 3 years now he's been the head coach? Or is it 4 years? I thought he had the last 3 years they've won 12 ball games. I think in the last 3 they've won 36 games. He's 0-3 in the playoffs.
No, you're wrong. He's got 4 years now as the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Okay.
He had 6 wins, and then he had 3 straight years of 12 wins. So he's got 42 wins in 4 years. Nick Sirianni has what? He had 14, he had 11 last year, and he had 9 the first year. That's 34 wins. I mean, he's 34 and 17.
This guy's so great. Why is he fighting for his job?
Well, because we don't have the great. I mean, you're talking about Dallas's ownership. Our ownership is tough to deal. They fired a damn Super Bowl coach because they wanted power.
Well, doesn't the guy with the Super Bowl ring get the doesn't he get the advantage?
I gave him credit. I told you I'm taking Mike because of that, but Senor brings up a good point. You can't just pick Mike because of a single Super Bowl ring. Is that the only thing he has over
then
Nick?
You can't pick him because he went to a Super Bowl either.
I picked freaking Mike. I'm just giving you the context that he's been a relatively underwhelming head coach.
He's averaged 10 wins a year in Dallas with Jerry. You can make the argument he's the third greatest head coach in the history of the Cowboys.
And he gets absolutely clobbered every time his team gets to the playoffs. Absolutely obliterated.
I can't believe I have to sit here and try to
4 years in Dallas with the number one offense, and he's got no NFC title. Nick Sirianni's got an NFC title.
Who was the OC?
Wait a second, though.
Who was the OC? I forget.
Kellen Moore. If you're going to take this argument, Nick Sirianni's only been a head coach for 3 years. What have each of those coaches done in the last 3 years? Mike McCarthy's got 36 wins. Nick Sirianni has 34 wins. But Nick Sirianni's got the hardware. He won the NFC. Mike McCarthy's done squiggly squat. He gets to the playoffs and shits the bed.
So now you're changing the conversation here.
Over the last 3 years? I'm just giving context. You don't have the body of work to work from with Nick.
So let me ask you this. Over the last 3 years, say Bill Belichick was on the other side in the last 3 years that Nick coached versus Bill, you would give the advantage to Nick over Bill Belichick because Belichick has shit the bed the last 3 years?
You're putting words in my mouth.
No, you trying to figure out your freaking metric.
I'm giving
you
context. That's it. I chose McCarthy. I think McCarthy has the edge because of the full body of work and because of the Super Bowl ring. I'm just saying it's not as wide of a margin as you're making it out to be. Nick has been pretty successful as a head coach. If he gets fired in Philly, I guarantee you somebody hires Nick Sirianni. I guarantee it.
All right.
14-win season last year, Big Sills. NFC title. I mean, can't take that from him.
We'll find out soon.
All right. I'm just saying.
Okay. Eric Kendrick, 79 solo tackles, 3.5 sacks. Devin White, 49 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 INT, but was benched. Well, you get benched when you don't want to play, son. Okay? And when you shit the bed and you don't want to show up to games, you don't get the benefit of the doubt because you quit on your team. Good night, Prince. Take the rest of the plays off here. You're all right there, kid. Ready to roll. All right. Here's a good one, too. Mike Zimmer versus Vic Fangio. We got
Vic Fangio. Mike Zimmer alienates every person he's ever coached with.
He's got a Super Bowl ring.
I know. Here we go again with the ring.
Oh, that's right, though. That's right. Winning it all doesn't matter, folks.
No, it does matter. I just take Vic Fangio. I think he's the better fit in the right moment with the right personnel. I think he's a better fit, and I like him. I like him better. They're both the coaches from the same cloth. They're the old school, grouchy ass, white dude with a big tummy coaching the defense. I like them both. I'm just taking Vic Fangio right now. Unless you can try and convince me to go the other way, which I don't think I can be convinced, but I don't think you have a compelling argument other than the fact that he has a Super Bowl ring.
Mike's had more successes with his defense and going further into playoffs than what Vic has.
How good is Zimmer's track record? I know he's obviously been around for a long time, but
plus he was a better head coach in Minnesota.
He was okay.
He had a winning record. Vic didn't. I like the big tummy comment too. I thought that was quite good too.
He was 72-56 as a head coach.
Yeah, what was Vic? He was under 500. It's okay.
Yeah, Vic wasn't a very good head coach.
No.
When he was in Denver.
Not that matters as a coordinator, because I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. Okay? No.
Right, well, what do you have on this? You got Zimmer?
I got a push.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think what you said is right. I think they're the same dude.
They're very similar to me.
Okay? But here's where you guys had a conversation this morning and where I was going with this. And what Jeff Kerr said, who, by the way, is really good at his work. And he works for CBS Sports, and he's on every Monday with Birds 365. Those guys do a great job with him. Good stuff, man, you guys are doing. And he said something about, when you look at communication being an issue, I would make this point to you that I think that Vic is going to have a little bit more clarity with communication. However, that communication didn't work at all in Miami last year. Those players hated him and he couldn't connect. Now, I think that had a lot to do with the head coach not having the good environment for Vic to work in. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy with a Hello Kitty backpack. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you got another style in Philly where it's more, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to go down this line. We're going to be this hardcore. I think it's more football talk in Philly than in Miami. I think it's more soft shit in Miami. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like a finesse organization where you walk around trying to be saying the right thing to not upset people. I don't give a shit about that conversation. If I'm going to tell you something, hey, that sucked. I want to tell you that sucked. I don't want to tell you, hey, you know why that's not good?
Right.
I don't want to go the extra mile like that, Xander. I want Vic to go like this. You're not playing. You're not like when Vic was asked the question at the golf tournament. We weren't very good last year. We got some new players in here, some new coaches. We'll see what's up. That to me is, that would aggravate a lot of the younger players today. When someone, imagine being not called a good player. That's what he basically said. He said we weren't very good. Well, he called the guys that are coming back not very good. But they didn't take it that way. They're taking it where, hey, we're being coached by a hardcore guy. And I think they're taking more to Vic. Zimmer is a tough drink. You know what I mean?
If
you don't like whiskey and you're forced to drink whiskey, that's not going to go down well.
I know. Wait a second. When's the last time Zimmer had a job?
I think he was an assistant with Dion with Colorado. Like he was a special assistant on that coaching staff with the Colorado Buffaloes.
He was unemployed. That's what sure enough says the reason he was unemployed the last 3 years. If he hasn't coached,
because he was being paid by the Vikings. That's not a fair conversation.
That's true.
Vikings
right. He had the big buyout
and money. Vikings still owed him.
He hasn't played in 3 years though, man. Or coached in 3 years. Shit, man. I mean, the NFL has changed in the last 3 years. It has
completely.
It really has.
It's a completely different defense. There's no question about it. Couple last questions for you. All right. Do you truly believe that they're going to use Barkley any differently than they used DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders in the last 2 years?
I'm not ready to say they definitely are, but there's a chance they do because you have a new coordinator who's very good at spreading the ball around. It's one of the reasons that Dak was so successful with Kellen Moore and had the #1 ranked offense because Kellen Moore forced them to spread the ball around. And I think it's going to help Jalen Hurts. That's why I think Dallas Goedert's going to have a better year this year. So I'm not ready to say that they're going to definitely because they haven't gone that route with the running back recently. But look, this is the first time they've given big money. This is the first time they've gone out on a limb and praised their running back publicly like they have with Saquon Barkley. I think he has the chance to be a game-changing player with this offensive line in front of him. We'll see how they use him. But do they have to use him differently? Can he be a better version of that and still be successful?
Yeah.
I mean, I said this morning, we did our stat projections on the offense. 1,200 yards rushing, 350, 400 yards passing, and situational impact. I need you to close out games when we're up. I need you to get me significant yards in the red zone. I need you to, give me a 2nd and 5.
I want late game heroics.
Huh?
I want late game heroics closing them out because that's something the Eagles the last 2 years have not gotten from the run game is closing teams out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's where the situational impact for me is going to be more meaningful than what the stats say. I mean, if he closes out games for you and you can win 12, 13 ball games because you have a closer, that's big. That's big impact for me. So they haven't had that. I think they're going to use him in that regard. I don't know about the passing game because it's just not Jalen Hurts, right? Like even if it's Kellen Moore, it's not Jalen Hurts. And it's not a knock on the quarterback. It's just not who he is.
Who would you want to establish more in a game, in the passing game? Goddard or Barkley?
Goddard. Definitely 100% Goddard. Look, you line up Saquon Barkley in the passing game, it's a day off for any cornerback in the league.
Right, because it's underneath.
Every reporter from camp said that Devin White stuck Saquon Barkley. Now it's just mini camp, and it doesn't mean much. I'm just saying, you don't want Saquon's primary role to be in the passing game. That's not the best use of the player. He's an elusive, skilled back. You can, like we just said, close out games with him, but we don't want to turn him into this, high volume pass catcher. That's not what we want. We'd rather increase targets to Dallas Goedert than increase targets to Saquon Barkley.
Okay, last question here. What's the biggest need in your opinion with $27.7 million still left in the bank that Howie has in his bank account that you would look for with cap jettisons? Maybe they move off a guy because Bradbury's on the team right now. I mean, are you looking for another corner if you get rid of him? No. Are you looking for an edge? What would be an area that you think Howie right now was looking through? Because remember how he got Gardner Johnson. It was like 7 or 8 days before the start of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
And he pulled that guy off the Saints roster. So I'm sure he's targeting somebody right now. What position would that be in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's one, I want more depth in the defensive line. I want another. I think you can't drop 700 snaps from Fletcher Cox and expect Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to pick up all that flat and 6.5 sacks. But like even just the production, even just having guys out on the field, I think adding to that room would be big for the depth. Wide receiver 3 is another one that stands out to me. The reason I don't want to say safety or secondary is because they have so many young corners right now. Howie's going to play a little bit of skullduggery in the back there. Like he might.
I don't want to take reps away.
Right. And he's going to move Maddox and maybe someone else to safety so that he can keep more cornerbacks on the roster. And I think there's a lot of players there that can kind of be interchangeable. Cooper DeJean's a guy that could probably play safety. Avonte Maddox is a guy that can play safety. I mean, you have a lot of players at the back end. That wouldn't be my priority. I would understand if they signed a safety because you really only have the three. I mean, you have CJ, you have Reed, and you have Sidney Brown. But back end, I just don't see it. I think the line, defensive tackle, by the way, Howie loves building the lines. So I wouldn't be surprised if he feels the need to bolster that up. Offensive line, I feel good at. Wide receiver, though, I mean, we got the best, one of the best duos in the league. But if one of those goes down, I mean, that's a massive drop off. So if you can mitigate that a little bit, I think that would help. After that, I feel like you're pretty good. I mean, I know people say we don't have much depth, but if you get wide receiver depth, if you get defensive tackle depth, yeah. I mean, what more are you gonna
Tennessee? If Tennessee moves off DeAndre Hopkins, I'd scoop that up.
Ooh, that would be nasty.
Because I think he's still. Hey,
put
him at 3,
and you don't need him to be a 1.
No, you put him in the 3.
Exactly. Yeah, put him in the slot.
He'd be the best 3 in the league.
That would be incredible. That would be really good. Now you'd wonder how much Jalen would find the 3, just because there's only one ball. There's so many guys out there. There's only one ball to go around.
I think Tennessee's rebuilding. I think.
Yeah.
But
they just signed Ridley, right?
Yale goes how much? Yale, if they cut him, he's on a league minimum.
Wait, so this is a good point. Somebody's listening to our segment right now, and I just got a text. You ready for what it says? And they're chirping your ass in it. Punters and kickers are football players. All 3 phases of the game. That's why Andy Reid just went out and signed his new punter that everybody was afraid of.
Let me guess. Big Bill.
That's not Big Bill. But there's a point to that. I know what you're saying when you say that, but having good special teams can cost you games, or bad special teams. Look at the Super Bowl. We couldn't stop a punt. What's his name? What's the guy's name that returned the punt in the Super Bowl against us? Kadarius Toney. I mean, you need to have good special teams players. If you have a great kicker that puts it through every time you kick the ball, you're going to have field goals. You're going to have point afters. You need to make them.
You tell your little friend who's chirping Big Sills that the point differential is 3 points in this league. And yes, you have to have a little cocktail drinker on the team with a size 9 shoe. And absolutely, you have to have one of those little, what's his name? Josh Freeman, Josh Norman. What's the kicker's name? Elliott, right?
Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott. That's it. I really don't.
Jake the make, baby.
Hey, I want to end it with this here, though. You don't really believe that Paul George move takes you past the Eastern Conference Finals with a 35-year-old guy with a catastrophic knee and leg injury about 5 years ago. I must have missed all the banners that were hung up at Staples with the Clippers. So I love the Maxey deal, okay? But at the end of the day, you think that Paul George deal puts the 76ers into the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, it doesn't. Because look at the matchup. The Boston Celtics are better and younger. And the matchups when you get to the playoffs are brutal for the Sixers. One, you called it. I mean, he's 34, and go look at Staples. He did shit there. They were a nothing burger every year. It's not the right sign, but there wasn't much else Daryl could do. Now, I'm not a Daryl guy, and something you said at the start of the show, which I haven't heard, but I've been saying it to myself since you said it an hour and 2 hours ago. You know what it was? Daryl Morey, the master of his own king, or the ruler of his own kingdom and the master of nothing, or whatever it was, however you worded it. And I'm just like, that is so damn true, man. He thinks he rules the roost and he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. He doesn't win shit. I mean, he has never won in the NBA, and people talk about him just because he always makes the big move. People talk about him like
no. The big move is slurping on James Harden.
Well, yeah, that's where he's done that everywhere he's ever been.
Right. Well, name me a move other than that. Here, this one.
Paul George. Extending Embiid. extending
I moved my buddy and I slurped him around the league as I went around the league. James Harden. Excuse me, but James Harden, you want to talk about postseasons? He's the Dak Prescott of shooting guards.
Dude, Joel Embiid is kind of the Dak Prescott of players in the NFL too. The guy shits the bed every playoff. Like look at Underdog, my man Underdog. What's up, buddy? He says Embiid being healthy during the postseason is key. We need to load manage him at Kawhi Toronto levels. I guess.
65 games.
I've never seen Joel Embiid perform like he should perform in the second round of the playoffs. The guy puts up these MVP years. He dominates games. He's even dominated playoff games in the first round. The second round comes, and the dude he just disappears off the face of the earth. I've never seen anything like it. Right. It's because he's hurt or he's limping or whatever it is. But I don't know, man. I'm out on Joel Embiid. I'm really out on the Sixers, dude. I just don't see it. I do not see it, especially with the Celtics set up the way they are.
You hate the Sixers now more because that guy owns the Commanders too. You got to admit it.
No, I don't care about that.
No?
Well, I don't think it helps the Sixers, but that guy's just building a sports empire. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, well, if I saw that guy sitting at Lincoln Financial rooting on the Commanders in Philadelphia and then turning around wanting me to buy season tickets for Sixer games, I'd be looking at that guy going like this. That ain't happening. So
Jason A-Team's saying I'm dumbass. Jason, tell me when you've seen Joel Embiid perform like he should perform in the playoffs to advance the Sixers. Tell me. If you tell me, okay, I'll admit I was wrong. But until you tell me, I haven't seen it. We can't get out of the second round. MVP. All he cares about is getting the stupid MVP.
Yeah, once you got the MVP, he took the rest of the year off.
I mean, I could care less about the damn MVP.
Xander, my friend, that was spectacular, man. You know what? You really stepped your A game up today, my friend.
Wait, before I go, though, what's the conclusion on our Dallas Eagles talk?
That this roster is not what you think it is, where you think you have such a massive advantage over the Dallas Cowboys.
So we blow those teams out of the water. In an offensive league, in an offensively driven NFL,
there you go.
The Eagles are 9-2
the exercise.
Over
the
that
exercise was Big Z was that this man for man. It's a closer roster than you think. Now, I will give what somebody brought up in here earlier. Do the Eagles have more advantages at more important group settings like O-line, wide receiver? You don't in the secondary. You think you do. But Jeff Kerr this morning. Hey, by the way, you might want to give that guy like a dictionary and tell him and show him what generational means. Okay? Generational was a guy who wore 92 there, not a guy who wears 11 in Dallas. That's not generational. And you do, you know what you do? You do this. Man, he need it on. And John too, man. John forgot Lawrence Taylor. He just forgot him. He just totally forgot Derek Thomas or Julius Peppers or some of these shit, even Von Miller. When you look at Micah Parsons, do you go, that's Von Miller?
No. I don't.
Do you even say Khalil
I've already been into it with John, and I take your train of thought. I'm not going to come on and bash every single guest we have on. I'll let them speak what they believe.
I love them.
No, I know you're not. I'm saying, though, when you have a guy on that disagrees with you, you don't always go at him, and people knock you for it. And you're like, that's not what I'm doing the interview for. I'm bringing his point of view to the show. So, in a way, I'm trying to I agree, though. I'm with you on the whole Micah thing. But, yeah, I don't know what you're seeing with the Cowboys. I think the Eagles have a way better roster than the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, when you match up player for player, that's not what it looks like.
Yeah, but that's not how the NFL works.
Oh.
It's not a one-on-one league.
See, what a change my exercise here. They got a better quarterback, better defense than you guys. They got a better defense than you. They're better defensively. And when it comes to matching up against you, they've owned you for a decade.
Okay, great. If it was 1994, I would say great. Defense and winning Super Bowl.
No. Last year, they waxed the floor with you, and the guy stepped out of bounds. Cowboys should have beat you twice last year.
Yeah, it's true. But they didn't.
They didn't. Right, I forgot. You lost to the Jets.
All right. Here's the last thing I'll say on these. We're coming into the season, and you did a whole topic on this. Eagles have 1-year deals. We have Milton Williams Devin White, and a couple other dudes who may or may not have an impact on this team on one-year deals. The Dallas Cowboys have their 3 best players on expiring contracts. They're a dysfunctional, shitty run organization. They haven't won in 30 years because of that, and they're going to continue to not win. So we could do all the exercises on the rosters that we want. They stink, and they're never going to win the big game until they change their style, and they're not going to change their style and maybe ever. When Jerry dies, when Jerry moves on, it's probably going to go to what? His son, his daughter, somebody, Steven. His sister, Steven. I mean, the Joneses are going to be running that thing for a long time, and I love it because they're great at making their team worth $10 billion or $12 billion and getting. Wait a second, you want to hear a hilarious story? Because this encapsulates the Dallas Cowboys. Real quick, I know we have JAKIB coming up. My sisters, my mom, we grew up in Philly. They are not sports fans, my sisters. They don't care. Some women are sports fans. My sisters, my mom, they don't care about sports at all. There's this show on Netflix of some sorts about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. It's this whole documentary, and there's seasons of it, and they dive into the Cowboys and the cheerleaders and how deep the team goes. And my sisters are like, I want to go to a Dallas game. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, you guys are watching the stupid Cowboys on Netflix. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. And that shows you who makes up the Dallas Cowboys fan base. People like my mom and sister who don't give a damn about football or winning. They love the brand and the image and the outfits and all the bullshit that doesn't matter about winning football games. And they're not a good organization when it comes to winning football games. They're a great publicity. They're great business. They're great, all those things. That doesn't mean they're going to win football games. Eagles by a landslide, baby.
Yeah. Well, here I'll say this to Philly. Get out of your own way, and you'd be a little more successful. If you get out of your own way, you'd be 3-1 instead of 1-3. You wouldn't have lost in 22. If you had quality coaches in the room and weren't afraid of.
Well, shit. We had quality coaches in 22. What the hell are you talking about?
Absolutely not. When it mattered the most, you were out coached by Spagnuolo and Reed.
Spagnuolo and Reed are 2 of the best coaches the league has seen in the last 50 years.
You were good enough to beat Belichick and Brady.
Wait. Now Shane's guys it wasn't a good
17. Coach? Wait a minute. You had coaches in 17 that beat the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, and the Eagles got rid of him. I agree. I've been saying that was a dumb decision. But are you telling me now Shane Steichen wasn't a good coach?
Not better. No, you didn't have good enough.
I disagree. I think that game.
Chiefs won.
I don't think that game came down to coaching. You know, I think actually our fans, and a lot of people are going to get pissed at me for this, and that's all right. I think our fans are too hard on Jonathan Gannon about that game. You played a generational talent at quarterback and a generational offensive head coach. That's just the way the cookie crumbled. If we got the ball back at the end of that game and we win, nobody cares about Jonathan Gannon. What? Jim Schwartz gave up 550 yards to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. We won the game. So nobody knocks it. It's a different comparison. Our coaches in 22 were fine. I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Me too. My friend, absolutely great stuff. Where are we in the like list?
Let me check because we got JAKIB in the waiting room.
Yeah, we got him coming up right now.
115, brother.
Very good, guys. Keep it up. Keep hitting the like button here. Xander, great stuff, my friend. We're going to go right over to JAKIB now, okay?
Thanks, Sills. Appreciate it, guys.
You got it. Don't forget to catch him at Birds365. Let's bring in Gary Cobb here and get his thoughts here. And, boy, it's been a pretty interesting offseason here, to say the least here, and what's going on. Let's see if we can reconnect here a little bit here, Xander. We got a little issue here with JAKIB. Looks like we're frozen a bit here. Hopefully we're able to bring our friend up.
I'm frozen.
See if we can do that here and get him brought up here.
Okay.
Good debate. And again, what I did was I brought in and I wanted to compare rosters. Now, look, I do think you have better group settings. Let's see if we can connect here with Gary Cobb here and see if we can. Yeah, we're having an issue. I think we're frozen here a little bit. Yeah, no, I don't have him. I can't see him. So hey, Xander, why don't we take a break and have Gary reconnect here, and let's see if we can do that, okay? So hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. We appreciate everybody coming aboard this 4th of July weekend. Got to tell you, one of my favorite weeks of the year, and when I grew up in Stanford, 4th of July, you had Babe Ruth baseball. You go down to the Cove. You go down to West Beach. Man, it was such a great time growing up there in Stanford, man. You go play a couple games at Cubetta if you were in the Babe Ruth League. My friend, I've told you many times, hit a baseball over the roof at Cubetta. Still legendary to this day. I'm sorry. It was one of the most impactful things I saw. And you're like, damn, that guy hit it over the roof. Right Tech, I think it is, that he hit it over the roof. And that's such a great time, man, with such a great sports community there. And I've known Gary Cobb for all these years. He was at a football event last week, and now he's here with us from Fox 29. Our good friend and former Eagle, Gary Cobb, joins us now. G. Cobb, man, growing up in Stanford, 4th of July weekend, man, nothing like it, right?
You know, I was there a couple of weeks ago. Went up, I don't know if you remember Herm Allswanger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they had, in fact, one of the guys that we had played with, the guy by the name of Gary White, was playing on the basketball team. He's a lawyer, and he became a judge, and he got this award, and so we all went back up there for him, and you had all the guys, and of course, my cousin Ernie, who was a great basketball player and everything, he was up there, and Herm and all those guys. So, I went back to Stanford and everything, had a good time up there, of course, talking to everybody, and, everybody's got a story and, talking about the sports, because really playing sports in Stanford as a kid coming up, you're thinking you're playing the big time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You really are, because they really treat I mean, it was a great sports town, and they really let you play, and you had the coaches there, and everything was run first class. So I really appreciated growing up in that environment, you know.
Gary, isn't it so crazy that you and me played? I mean, Craig Bingham and Pazzulli and myself, you, all the guys that you and I played with, and guys who went on to play pro baseball, basketball. The guy from Norwalk, who went on to play and was a Hall of Famer, went on. The conference that we played in, I think that's one of the most underrated places in the country that we played in. And when I tell this story, and I'm so happy, Yale, check this out. My wife doesn't want me to really tell the story that much, but when I was a super young kid, Jackie Robinson used to come to all these events and was like the keynote speaker. And when you were a super young kid, Jackie would walk in, and there he is. He lived in Pound Ridge. We'd go up to Larry O'Brien, the trophy that's named after he used to live up in Pound Ridge, right across from the Italian Center. I did his driveway, and I used to cut his lawn, Larry O'Brien. And so where we grew up, it was crazy that Jackie would walk in.
That's right. But you're right. I mean, I had at my little league banquet, Jackie Robinson. I mean, I'm going like, you got to be kidding me. I look back at it, and you see how powerful that is. I mean, what a major thing. You know, I'm 11 years old. I got Jackie Robinson at my baseball banquet, shaking my hand for winning a trophy, you know. I'm going like, you got to be kidding me. But we were very fortunate. We were very fortunate.
Yeah. Hey, let me get into this. Jaws last week on WIP questioned Jalen's leadership. Do you?
Well, I already see he's made some changes. He's already made some changes, which is, as the guy who is the key guy on the team and everything, and really the quarterback, you got to be talking to the wide receivers all the time. You got to be talking to your linemen and everything. You saw that from Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce's always over there communicating. And you would see Jalen over there sitting down, you know, and these other guys over there, and he's over there kind of a stoic thing. I think he was focusing and, on doing his job, but I think he realizes, because I saw him over there at the workouts every time he came off the field. He's over there. He's over there with AJ. He's with Devontae. Well, Devontae was there, but with Dallas Goedert, all those guys communicating. What did you see? That route, was that guy, you think we can run that again? Can you beat that guy inside? You know, you got to be talking, you know, and with the coverages and things defensively. You know, the linemen talk. They're talking about their pass rush. Can you beat this guy? If I go ahead, if we run this certain game where you come inside, you got to be talking to each other. That's part of leadership. And so I saw him doing that. He wasn't doing that as much last year. I could sitting over there all stoic. Look, you know, years ago, let's say if Jim Brown, he's running, he knows he's getting the ball every down. There's nothing to talk about. So he can sit over there. But in the game now, things are changing. They got all the strategy, you know. What if you run out and up on that guy? Can you beat that guy deep? You want to be talking all the time about that, because the communication, and I can see that's what Kellen Moore is emphasizing, because you got to be communicating. And they talked about the fact that they're giving the receivers a lot of freedom to run routes, meaning that they won't say, well, you need to do this and that. No, I need you to be here at the end of this route. Now, if you want to give him a fake inside, if you want to shake him, whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do it. But this is where you got to be. And that's where they're kind of running the offense. So they're giving the receivers more freedom to do different things with their route. And with the fact that all of them are experienced, and you got guys that think the game and they're smart players, you got to have the communication. You got to be communicating. And then emotionally, you got to go, hey, man, look, let's wake up, everybody. Come on. Come on. Now, you might not say it that way.
Yeah.
But you're going to get these guys. Look, man, come on, man. Look, come on. We played 10 minutes, man. We haven't done a thing. And that offense is, with all the talent they got to be pushing themselves, because if they don't come out and jump on people and everything, it's something wrong, because they got so much talent. A lot of offenses have scored all kind of points. They didn't have this kind of talent. They got tremendous talent. But Jalen's got to be the one in the middle of that. He's got to be the focal point. So I think I could see he is more communicative, right? Even in the practices.
How about this, Gary? Tell me if you think this is a nothing burger. I really loved what I heard from Lane last week. He was on the Rich Eisen show, and he was asked some questions. He goes, have you seen the difference in Jalen Hurts this year? And what you're referencing, he goes, you know, they're doing barbecues more. They're like bowling. They're hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, it just seems that they're more accessible than it was a year ago on watching him and how he's trying to connect with everyone on the team more so than he did a year ago. But then, Gary, this baseball, softball tournament that Devontae had, here was another opportunity. And again, tell me if you think this is nothing. When you're the face of a franchise today, isn't it expected that you calm the waters so that everyone has that public perception of what's going on, even though it may not be true? Because we came away with all these indictments about him saying, I don't know what Nick's job is. There was, again, another opportunity for him to right the ship and say, that was a you thing. You guys made that up. Nick and I are fine. Do you think he's got to be a better face of the franchise? And that has really nothing to do with playing. It's more about how it's being perceived. Because to me, there seems to be more to that position than just going out on Sundays and winning. Am I off base, or is it enough?
You can look at either way. And there are times, yes, when he needs to do that and things. He's not going to do that all the time. He's going to decide when he wants to and everything. But the big thing is they got to be cool. You know what I mean? Like you talk, hey, coach, you know we good.
Yeah.
You know, coach, you know we good. Call him, hey.
But is that important to tell the public?
Maybe I didn't do this, whatever it is, but they got to be good. Now, he don't have to say anything publicly if he doesn't. Sometimes he wants to because he can't say anything all the time. So he's got to pick his times when he wants to step up and, let's say, reveal something that's going on. So he can pick his times when he wants to do that. But the bottom line is they got to be good. You know, whether whoever approaches who, you know, the coach and the quarterback got to be good. Meaning, like, they got to have a communication. And if somebody's got a problem, they got to go talk about it. They got to get it, flushed out or however they want to do it. But, you're not going to get a public comment on everything as long as they are in good communication. But they do need to be flowing. They got to be able to talk. You can't have a thing where you got the head coach and the quarterback not talking, and not on the same page. If he's got a problem with something, he's got to go there and go, hey, blah, whatever it is, let's get it out on the table.
Gary, do you think they've had a conversation where they smoothed that out?
Wait, say that again?
You think they've had a conversation, him and Nick, have smoothed that out if there was anything with Nick? Would that be something that you would want to have addressed right now after that week, a little bit of some of the comments that have been made? Do you think they went and had maybe somebody said, hey, I just want to get the record straight here between you and me. We're good.
If it's something, they definitely need to smooth it out. I mean, that's part of the thing, meaning like, I know that, you have to be willing and able to play through some issues where maybe you got an issue with somebody. You got to be able to play through that and be effective. At the same time, you got to talk to each other. You can't be over here where you got this bitter thing against a guy you got to work with every day. You got to go, hey, look, man, hey, close the door. Hey, man, look.
Yeah.
What's happening, man? And you come from your side, or you find out what's happening with him. But you can't go through the season with these key positions, at a war. You can't not do that because emotionally and everything, and the game is emotional, especially like with the quarterback and the head coach, and the head coach is offensively minded. They got to be on the same page.
Did you ever have conversations like that with your guys?
Without a doubt.
Did you ever go to them, close door, and go like this? Hey, man, listen, when I move you over to a 3 technique, I'm not doing it because I want to do it. I'm doing it because that's what the assignment is. Is that kind of the talk that you have with somebody?
That's right. Now, see, when I was in Detroit for like 4 years, whatever, I was defensive captain. Okay, so that was part of my job. Hey, look, hey, what you call, man? Hey, come here, man. Look, I'm telling you to go inside. Hey, is there something going on? What is, are you getting my call or are you getting such and such's call? You guys got to get on the same page over there, man. They're running your side. What's going on over here? You got to talk. You got to talk to guys, and especially if you got young guys. Right away, if I got a young guy around me, right away, I'm telling him, are you good? You know what you're doing, because, you can get out there, his eyes real big.
Yeah.
And, hey, look, come here, man. Relax, dude. It's going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
Hey, Gary, when you're young, hey, it's a 3 technique. What's that? What do you mean, what's that?
Hey, you better believe guys get in the game and they just freeze sometimes, because they emotionally, it's a lot for them and everything. But the thing about it is, you've got to be able to perform, and you got to be on the same page. And defensively, well, offensively, of course, you got to be very much in sync. Because defensively, you could kind of be a little off. As long as you're doing it aggressively, you mess up the offense. See? So you can be a little off. But offensively, you got to be in sync. I mean, the guy's got to know, hey, this is the route you're running.
Is that your biggest Is that your biggest concern, is the communication with Vic and his secondary and linebackers now, because there's a lot of new faces? Do you think, not just with the scheme of it too, and again, think about it, Gary, like what you said, you're talking communication, and now you're talking about fits. You're talking about technique.
Yep.
I want you to tell the folks that's not a seamless transition where communication could take time. Now you're talking fits too, proper fits when you run defense or your pass coverage defense. Then you're talking strong side, weak side stuff, how your alignments are. How long does that usually take, especially when you've got new personnel, some sort of new different schematic look to it, and you've got a communication? You think that's seamless, or do you think that's still going to take some time?
Well, most of the time it takes time, because especially, you start getting into nickel, you start getting into where you've got different people coming in the game. You got different people playing together, see? So that's all communication. And of course, the offense now with the motion, where you don't see what formation they're going to be in until the last split second. So now these guys got to be talking to each other. Somebody's coming over. A guy's go, oh, I'm inside. You got to have somebody takes over. If both of the guys are looking at each other, now they're gone. The receiver's gone. You're looking over at him. You can't be. Somebody's got to take over and go, I got him, or whatever. You got to have guys who will take over and be aggressive, because if you got two guys coming and a guy's coming in motion and the communication's not right, one of the guys is going to be open, see, because you're looking at each other, not the receiver. You're not looking at the receiver. So you got to be able to communicate with each other. But I think I saw about Vic is, though, they were talking. He had those guys talking. So he's emphasizing that. And the thing he does is, I see where, he's got a good feel for the whole thing, is because he does not let you know. He's got these guys not really showing what they're doing until the last split second.
Oh, wow. I love that's like the Ravens used to do with that walk-up defense. So they're kind of trying to disguise it a little bit before they go to their that is so good, because that's the one thing that Jonathan Vilma told me that they used to do to Peyton Manning, was that because Peyton Manning would have all these audibles, but then he has the disadvantage of the clock. When it got down to 5 seconds, he had to set the offense. So then you're saying, then they go to their positions and they go to where their alignments are. So they're not really showing it. That's a really big time deal. You got to have some really great communication to do that.
You got to have to do that. And I'll tell you this, that that's probably one of the reasons that Hassan Reddick is not there, because all their guys, everybody's going to be dropping at times. There's nobody going to be rushing the passer all the time. They're going to play it where each outside backer is going to be dropping sometimes. So there's nobody just rushing the passer all the time. And that way they keep the offense guessing. And then sometimes you're going to have guys going and the corners going, and you got the linebacker outside is dropping into the outside area. See, but they're playing a zone but but here you got a cornerback coming off that corner, different things like that. I saw them showing different looks, and they were doing a good job of it. You can see talking is one of the things he's emphasizing, communicating, So they look good. They really were ahead of the offense. But, you expect that. But they were just putting in new things. But they were playing those different zones. They do a good job. They play man in the zone. They're jumping on guys and really trying to take away everything. So that's why they were knocking down balls and things. And, they got some interceptions against the Eagles offense.
I like it. 2 last questions for you. Yeah, now I know why they traded Hong Kong Fooey Reddick, man. You see that outfit he was in, man?
Yeah, he wants to rush the passer.
Sandals on, had the umbrella, had the whole deal.
Hey, nobody's rushing the passer all the time. Nobody is.
Yeah, I got it, man. Hey, one last thing here. Do you believe that they're going to use Barkley the same way that they used Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift, or do you think they're going to put another element in there and try to put another element in that offensive passing attack when it comes to this year? Or do you think they just want a better version of those two, and they're pretty much going to play them the same way?
I can tell you that they plan on getting Barkley involved in the passing part of the game, because they were working. They were working with him coming out of the backfield, getting the ball in his hands on short routes, and they were emphasizing it, where they would just, where there were certain times where that was, and I understand it might be where these guys hadn't played together, Jalen and Barkley hadn't played together previously. So they were getting used to those two playing together. So they were throwing the ball to Barkley a lot. And so I know they want him to be a part of the passing attack without a doubt. So you might as well know that. Sometimes, shifting out, so they're definitely getting him involved in the part of the passing attack. So I imagine it's going to get, more complicated, but that was a big part of what they were doing, working with those two. Yep.
One last one here.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that they want Kellen Moore to change more than they want Jalen to change, and they want to build an offense around Jalen. Well, then, Gary, why didn't they hire an RPO offensive coordinator if they were going to keep what Jalen does best? So you're going to go into this season with a coordinator who has never had an RPO quarterback whatsoever, because that wasn't Dak's skill set. So you're going to have him construct a brand new offense for Jalen, and he's going to be a play caller in that offense. Okay, so Moore's changing, but not Jalen, or is both? I'm confused here a little bit, because why didn't you just hire somebody like Shane or a guy like a Cliff Kingsbury?
Well, according to and listening to Kellen, both of them are changing some, and that he's changing some, and that, they're bringing that part of the offense. And, Kellen is bringing in the different things, and what they're doing is that they're working now to develop what it is, So I think both of them are going to have to do some change, are making some changes. It's the way that he kind of communicated that. And we'll see. Of course, you don't know the running part of the game until, they start putting out some shoulder pads and some equipment. So you really can't see what they're doing with the running game yet. But you're going to see all of that. They're going to incorporate some, where Jalen is running with the ball and all of that in. But they're just going to, I don't think they know how it's going to look yet. They're still kind of working on it, but you can see that they're communicating the whole time. So
hey,
we will see.
Let me sneak this one last one in. Do you think that they're going to use exhibition football more this year, or do you think they're going to stay status quo?
I don't think they're going to do it. Normally, from what I've seen with the Eagles, they don't really do much in those games. They'll do it in practice. Like, I know they're going to practice against somebody.
Yeah, Patriots.
Yeah, so they're going to practice against the Patriots. They'll do more there than they will do in the game, because I don't think they want to show everybody what they're doing. So they end up doing it most showing more things in the practices.
Those organized team practices.
That's right. They'll do more there than they will in the game. They don't like showing. At least that's what I've seen out of them. Is they don't like showing too much in the games in the preseason.
Do you think that's too risky, though, Gary? Because those aren't the quality reps you get in a game like exhibition football, especially when you have – I mean, you haven't really shuffled the deck yet at what you're going to do at second corner, what you're going to do at free safety. Can you really make a valued assessment on what you have at linebacker in the secondary with just going with organized team practices? When you guys do this, hey, all right, let's stop. Winning games, you know this. There ain't anything on script in a football game.
I know you're right. I know you're right about that. But they've done it this way since they've been there. This crew has been there since you had this coaching staff. So this is the way they've done it. Most time people don't change everything. They have a certain way they do things. So what I've seen up to this point is they'll get into that scrimmage, the game where they got the team coming in, and they're doing everything. They got the guys going after. They're going live drills, and they're doing everything. And then get into the preseason games and don't show anything. Don't even let the guys play that much. That's way it's been so far. Now, if they change, we'll see that. I'll know that. But that's what they've shown so far. So that's what I expect.
Gary, great stuff, man. Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for always finding time for us. You're absolutely sensational. Folks, don't forget Fox 29 throughout the season. He's so kind to come on here all the time with us as well. Gary, thank you, my friend. Have a great 4th of July, man.
All right, you too.
You bet. The great Gary Cobb. Yeah, man, that was fun growing up with Gary Cobb. Gary was a little bit older than me, but as I told you guys, me and him would be sitting there. I'm a couple years younger than him, and we'd be sitting in there. I'm like super young, 9, Babe Ruth. He's 11, and there's Jackie Robinson. Jackie passed, I think, in either 73, 74, so we were really young. And so, but I told you, the guy played golf with my dad. Incredible environment we grew up in. Absolutely insane. Xander, where are we in the like list, my friend? Please hit the like button, guys. Guys have been great during this 4th of July Monday week. As we start this bad puppy here, 127, little behind here, okay? We are going to need about 73 more this final hour. Let's kick that baby up. Final hour, we'll reset. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. 1st and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. Got a bunch of people over on Twitter watching the program too, so we appreciate you guys on any platform watching us as you are today. Thank you guys so much. Hit the like button. Thank you again for jumping aboard with us here. 4th of July this week. Here, I think I ranked my favorite holidays. I did. I think I ranked. Here it is. Christmas, obviously, number one. I got the 4th second because I remember so many great times with my Uncle Richard and my aunt and my uncle and my grandpa and my cousin. And I love the 4th of July. We'd have fireworks in the backyard. We'd eat lobster and scoongeels. And we'd have galamad. Oh, my God, man. It would just be a food fest. And you know what? You wanted to know the greatest thing about this? It was free. Like, we didn't pay for the lobster. No, we paid for it with our hard work when we went out and got them. Or the blue shell crabs. We went out and caught all this. Like, we didn't buy it. I think my grandma probably bought the galamad, the calamari, for you white folks. But the rest of it, the fish, the flounder and such, we caught it. The scoongeel we caught. All of that. The lobsters, for sure, we caught in our lobster pots. My grandpa had 300 lobster pots. We pulled them every other day during the summer. I did that for 14 years. I mean, all but 4 years, I didn't do that because I was living somewhere else. But the majority of my life, I lived on a boat with my grandpa as a lobster man. Yeah. I'd get up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we would go out. And what was really cool, I've told you guys, is they'd have these rolling sandbars that were out in the middle of the sound. And we used to see, my grandpa used to set his lobster pots to the Trade Center buildings. We would put a line right in the middle of them. And some of these rolling sand dunes have all these clams in it. And me and my cousin would jump in these rolling sand dunes and we'd scoop up all these clams. So we would get clams. 4th of July was such a, it was ton of hard work. Ton of hard work. And we did that. And I used to go every other day, all the way up until probably November when the season ended. And we would do that. It was a lot of fun, man. A lot of hard work. Holy cow. My grandpa and I'd be out there from 4:30 to 4:30. My grandma would be waiting for us on the other side. It's pretty crazy, man. So I love the 4th of July. My third one's probably going to be Easter because that was my grandma's favorite. Then Thanksgiving, New Year's, then Memorial Day. Got to put that in there because we always had a great time at Memorial Day. My grandma's favorite, I would say, would be Easter. So I loved it, man. Sills, eating lobster and sipping during the rough upbringing. Hey, wait a minute. JM, I had to catch that. No, you're right. Watch this. Stuffed artichokes, scoongeel, lobsters, flounder. This guy's an aristocrat. I had to catch it all. What do you think? We bought it? We didn't buy that. The only thing we bought was Chinese food. Okay? The only thing we bought was Chinese food. I know we caught all that. The scoongeels, the lobsters, the flounders, the fish. We were fishermen, man. You know, old man in the sea stuff, the blue shell crabs we caught. There wasn't a thing we did. We never bought any of that. My grandma might buy a fish every now and then, but most of the time we'd go out and catch it ourselves. That was really a really great upbringing. Hard. I was in the water most of the time. Like my grandpa's pots used to get caught in the rocks. I'd have to go down and I'd have to untangle them. 15 feet. Go down, untangle it, come back up again. Yeah. Hey, you know what's funny? 215, my grandpa used to have a bucket of water, fresh water. And so sometimes for lunch, we would go over and see those sand dunes. And I'd jump in and I'd get them. I'd bring them back in. My grandpa would shuck them. Sometimes oysters too. Would shuck them. And we would dip them in there and we had lemon juice. And we would eat them right there on the boat. And we'd have iced tea out there. And then we go back to work. We'd have a sandwich. We'd have some of the clams. Yeah, it's good, man. That was a fun time. Okay, fun time. Please hit the like button, guys. Before we move on, where are we on the like list? I got to tell you some really cool shit that's happened this past weekend here. Where are we in the like list, guys? We're trying to get to 200 by the end of the program. Hopefully we're able to do that. Guys, we really appreciate you guys coming aboard with us here like that. So thank you very much, especially during this travel week where everyone's going to be out there on the road. Decent show today, buddy. Got my like. Look at JM, 139. All right, we're about 61 away. So let's see if we can get that there. The Buccaneers, I want to show you something. And I got to tell you, I got fired in Tampa because of my relationship with the Bucs. I got fired. Okay? Many of you know the story. Wasn't over the monkey comment. It wasn't able to use it. Bucs hated me on the air. So I got this letter from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the weekend. And I want to read you this. And I think they sent it out to just a few people. I'm going to read this here. And I think this is where's the other one? And this comes from this guy, Steve Finders. He is the director of community impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? And this is what he wrote. Dear Dan, hope all is well. Tampa Bay Buccaneers would like to invite you and a guest to join us. I posted this on my Twitter. Would like to, at Dan Sileo Show, would like to invite you and a guest to join us and your fellow Buccaneer legends in our hospitality tent at the training camp practice on Sunday, July 28th. Practice will take place from 8:30 a.m. to 10:40 a.m. at the Advent Health Training Center. Gates will open at 7:30 a.m. We will pay for flight, hotel, and food. And all you have to do is just give us an RSVP by July 14th. If you need any other additional tickets, let us know. We'll accommodate. We'd love to have you. Remember something, man. Me and them, we were not that kind of, it was not like that. But they now know how I am. It's not that I hate the Bucs. I just want the best for the Bucs. I think sometimes you guys think that I don't want the best for the Eagles. That's not true. KCA Eagle, legend. Well, it's good to know that the general manager of the team came on this program and officially said that we screwed Sileo up. I posted that too. Okay, they ruined you. They did. I didn't help myself. Hey, KCA Eagle, I didn't help myself. Okay, I didn't. I didn't help myself with my attitude back then. But it was good to see the general manager come on the program and say, We just didn't coach him correctly. Okay? They ruined you. They did. They did. Okay? And Steve goes, let it go, Sills. Why hold a grudge? Hey, man, I had a friend of mine die over the weekend. His name was Steve Lapp, a guy I did business with, and a dear friend of mine. And I got a call over the weekend that he passed away. And you're right. Life's too short, dog. Life is way too short. And, I was just talking to him on Thursday. My aunt said, when's the last time you talked to Steve? And I go, I don't know. Good. I'll call him Friday. He passed away on Friday. My friend called me and told me, and I'm going like, what? Dude, you're right. Okay. I mean, right? Dear friend of mine, man. Okay. All right. Here's some good news. What I was doing this weekend. I got to show it to you. We're going to reset. I promise. We'll get back into the NFL. There's some NFL stuff here, but I got to show you this. I went to my daughter's very first professional rugby game. And I didn't know if they were going to play her. These are people that played at Harvard, Dartmouth, Yale, Sacred Heart. These were people that played at massive programs. Not that my daughter didn't, but they put in. So she played her first professional game with the San Diego Surfers, and they won the first event that she was in. And she played a ton. Started like almost all the games. They played 6. Sunsplash 7s. And here's the championship picture. There's Dee Dee's first uniform as a professional rugby player. She got $150 for that. She gets $150 like a game. And that's her first. One person on this works on the USS Theodore Roosevelt because she played rugby for the Navy. She works with the nuclear powered destroyers and the aircraft carriers. And they won their first event. They got the little fish there. They got medals and all kinds of stuff that were handed to them. It's pretty cool, man. So my kid's now a professional rugby player. And she loves the fact that she gets to stay home. I think she's going to try to do some stuff in Australia. The coach is the United States Olympic coach of the women's U.S. Olympic team. And he came up to us and he goes, she's really good. So he was in Rio and he's picked a lot of the teams. He picked the men's team as well. And he was also from Australia himself. DFW. It was totally awesome, man. I mean, good for her, man. Good for her. We were very excited about it. So, yeah, that was our weekend. So I go from that to, I'm so happy with the 4th coming up here too. And plus we're 3 weeks out from now from the start of training camp. Okay. Hey, she can get tips from Mulata. He knows Jordan Mulata too. I go, Jordan Mulata? He goes, yeah, here's his cell phone number. I said, get out. He goes, you want it? I go, yeah. So he gave me Jordan Mulata's cell phone number. And I got to come up with a way to text him. So how I'm going to do it like I did with Mark Cuban, how I got in with Mark Cuban, I went through the rugby route because Cuban played rugby at Indiana. So I'm going to go that route with Jordan Mulata that my kid played rugby for a coach that coached him in Australia. Yeah. Hills, does your wife have any athletic ability or is it all you? Oh, my wife is an exceptional athlete. Great tennis player. Really good track and field. I mean, she could probably run marathons. She's run like half marathons. She could go 28 miles without breaking a sweat. She's a pretty good athlete. She trains with her too. So, Big Sills, would you want to interview Mulata or Jalen Carter? Choose one. Mulata. I want to know what it's like to never have played and now you're one of the top 3 tackles in the game. What was that like? I mean, was it easy? Was it hard? This guy didn't even know how to put a mouthpiece in. Well, no. A chin strap on of a football helmet. He didn't even know what pass protection was. Now he's like being paid the third highest paid guy in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd want to know what that was like. He's the best athlete on the Eagles. He's the best athlete. Okay? No, that's not true, Barb. All the Hooters are not closing up. The ones in the that are our friends in the Philly area and up through Rhode Island and into New Jersey, they have no effect on them. It's the Florida ones that are having issues right now, and the ones mostly in Central Florida are having some of the issues. It's not all the Hooters. It's the Hooters in Florida, like around Jacksonville, Gainesville, up in near Orlando. So I didn't say, okay. Yeah. So it's just some of those. Okay. Howie's greatest mouthpiece. Wouldn't you agree, Dan? 52 likes to go. Let's go, folks. Appreciate you doing that for me. Sills, do you think the Dolphins may be trading one of their edge rushers? You mean the Miami Hurricane kid, Kyle? I'd like to see that. You think I do think there's one more move coming. Vortex, Jeff Stoutland has done such a great job with Jordan Mailata. He's done such a great job. Yeah, hey, Kyle, that kid that he follows me on Twitter too, and he's reached out to me numerous times when he got to Miami. And I think he's done a nice job down there. There's a kid up in Buffalo too that's another Hurricane that played at the University of Miami. A kid, what's his name? Escapes me. The kid with the Dolphins. Shit, he's pretty good. Yeah, that's it. Phillips. He's pretty good. He's a pretty good-looking football player. Gets around the horn good. Has some pretty good skill sets. Hit the like. Or I time everyone out, then quit. And 50 more to go. Thank you, Maniac. The Eagles don't run the NFC East. They've won the division once in the last 4 years. 304. The Eagles do not run the NFC East. They've won one title in the last 4 years. Who do you think's been better than them in the last 4 years? Cowboys? You think the Cowboys have been better than the Eagles the last 4 years? That's a pretty good question. I mean, 304. Have the Cowboys been better the last 4 years? Eagles got to a Super Bowl. Hey, 304. You know, if we're going to make comparisons to the Cowboys, the Eagles in the last 4 years have gotten to a Super Bowl, though. That has to count for something. You just can't just go, well, regular season, and then you got to look at it all. You got to look at the entire book. I mean, I get they've won one division title in 4 years, but they've also won an NFC championship. If you don't win the division, you don't run your division. I mean, I don't know, man. I'd rather take the Eagles record right now than the Cowboy record the last 4 years. I know what you're saying. You're not wrong, but has there been another team in the NFC East that has had a better playoff record and done more in the last 4 years than Philly? Wait, it's not stupid. They've won more playoff games, and they've won a division, and they've won a conference title. Philly has one more playoff win, but they have an NFC title. So wait, Philly has an NFC title and won the division once. And how many times is the Cowboys? 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, one playoff win. It's not, man. I disagree. Seals Phillips just turned 25 and entering a contract year. Would you trade for him? I don't know if the Dolphins would give him up. I just don't know if the Cowboys would give him or the Dolphins would give him up. Great, they had one great season. 304. Are you really saying that you think the Cowboys have had better 4 years than the Eagles have had in the last 4 years? I'm going to dispute that. That conference title has to matter. It has to matter. Wow. You and me, my friend, are going to agree to disagree on that one. I think winning division titles is, I don't know. That sounds like a lot of conversation about doing very well in the regular season and not quantifying the mistakes that the Cowboys make during the postseason. I think you're dissecting failure there when you do that. Okay? I mean, you have to win your division to run it. I don't know, man. And you have to win the division to get home field. Okay, I'll make this point to you. If you're saying the Cowboys have owned the NFC East and run their division, they have actually failed more than Philly, right? And they've underachieved more. The Rams don't run the NFC West, and they're more accomplished than the 49ers. That's a pretty good comparison. Yeah, but the Rams won the Super Bowl. So you're saying because the 49ers have done more, better things in the division titles, that supersedes a Super Bowl win? Since 2000, Dallas won the division 7 times. Wait, Dallas won the division 7 times, Eagles 10 times. Both have 0 Super Bowls. No, that's not true. 17, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Eagles have won the Super Bowl and been to 2. Last 20 years, no back-to-back winner. True. Cowboys have not won 3 divisions in 4 years. That would require 1 back-to-back in both, according to Philly 500. He's right. Last 4 years. 304. You have no idea what you're talking about. The Eagles do have it over the Dallas right now with the Super Bowl appearance. Rams are more accomplished than the Niners past 4 years. The Rams have a Super Bowl. Seals, I do think the Eagles are going to make a move for a good pass rusher. I think so too. I don't know what that looks like, though. I really don't. I don't know what that's going to look like. Rams don't stink, dude. The Rams have, under Sean McVay, have 2 NFC championship wins and a Super Bowl. That's more accomplished than anything the Eagles have done in the last 10 years. Okay? Well, no, it's compatible. 2 NFC titles, last 10 years. Eagles 2 NFC titles. 1 Super Bowl win, 1 Super Bowl win. McVay has been more. McVay's been the best coach in the NFC in the last 10 years because of what he's done. It's kind of a push, Maniac. Yeah, Rams have been good since McVay, and they dumped out of Jeff Fisher. That's pretty true. Literally, no back-to-back winners in the last 20 years. 304, why do you think that is, that the NFC is so hard to put back-to-back like that? I have a theory on why that is so hard. Why do you think that's so? been a thing the last 20 years. There hasn't been a back-to-back winner in the NFC East. Why do you think that is? Lions are going to be good. Spin. But what? Hey, if you had to guess, parity, even at quarterback with Brady, why do you think there's not been a back-to-back winner in the NFC East? Cowboys are more consistent team or inconsistent team because the Eagles are too inconsistent. That's what he's saying. Excuse me. The Cowboys are more consistent. Great teams, that's why. East is very competitive. I think it's exactly what 304 is saying about Philly. Philly's too up and down with their roster. There's no stability in it. One year they're here, experienced. Look at where you are. Hey, let's do this. I think you're right, 304. No team is consistent. The Cowboys are kind of. You're going to have Dak, CD, and Zeke, and Zach Martin, and you're going to have and Michael Parsons, and you're going to see pretty much the same Cowboy guys. You're not going to see that with the Eagles. The Eagles are not a here. Look at how different. How different do you think you are from the 2022 team to where you are just 2 years removed going into this year? This is just 2 years. How different are you from that Super Bowl team? You're not better. You're not better than you were 2 years ago. Okay? Jack, I'm not dissecting the question. How different are you as a football team in 22 to where you are right now entering the 24 season? How different? This is in a matter of 24 months. Look how different you are. You're dramatically different. And this is why the upsetting of the NFC East has so much turmoil. It's because Philly is the most inconsistent team in the division. That doesn't mean bad. And that doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that your teams are never the same. Like, I'm not saying there's not a lot of turnover, but there's more turnover in Philly every year because of these one-year contracts than way more than Dallas. Dallas doesn't sign free agents like Philly does. We just seen that this offseason. Yale goes, yet they win. Okay? But the reason why you lose the division last year is because you don't have a division championship roster. Because you've changed it so much in 24 months. The team from 22 to 24, entering the 24 season, it's completely different. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm just saying you're not as good. Or look here. Look how what you've done since the 4-win team. Look at Nick's first year, 2020. How different are you from 2020 going into the 2024 season? That's a different looking. That's an entirely different looking team. And you know what? I have to think that this has got a lot to do with how Hurts looks. 2020, completely different. 2021, a completely different team. 2022, a completely different team. 2023, a completely different team. Going into this year, a completely different team. Don't you think that has something to do with the up and down of the play of the quarterbacks that you've had between Wentz and Hurts? That has to play into it. Every year, your team has more turnover than any team, including Washington, in the NFC East. The team that upsets the balance of power in the East is Philly because of all the one-year contracts that you guys have. And to some extent, to what Spin just said, the Cowboys. or the coaching. Dallas won't be competitive this year. They're loaded with UFL players. Tell you what, when they match up, they don't have bad they have better personnel than what I thought. Okay? They do. But that's my takeaway, is that Philly's changing, and the constant one-year contracts that you sign gives you a different look every year. And that's why you don't really get a lot of the consistency. Philly consistently passes up on all pros. That's on the defensive side for sure. They don't want to sign Patrick Queen. They don't want to sign Xavier McKinney. They don't want to go after guys like that. They'd rather sign the Devin Whites and the Gardner Johnsons. It's just cheaper and less talented. And look, how about this? The 22 team versus the 24 team going into training camp. Your depth level is nowhere near that 22 team. It's nowhere near it. Sills, do you think it's realistic to think that Dallas can win 9 games? I don't know where you're getting the running game from. And your number 2 wide receiver, Brandon Cooks, I mean, your 2 tackles, I have questions. I like your 2 guards. The center, if Beebe turns out, the kid from K-State, all right. But where are you getting consistency? Let me ask you this, if you're Dallas. How do you close games out if you have a lead with 2 minutes left in the game? Who are you handing the ball to? Elliott? He was a non-factor in the league last year, and he's not been the same in 4 years. How are you keeping that game and not having 3 and outs late in the game to give the ball back to someone else to get back into a game? You feel me? I don't know how you close games out. I like the tight end a lot. Is your defense, especially up front, going to be good enough to stop teams that are here? I'll say this about Dallas, and I'll do it again. 304. We didn't run the ball well last year, and we won 12 ball games. You also had a offense that moved the sticks well, and wasn't Tony Pollard on that team? Wasn't Pollard on that team last year, 304? He was still a threat to you. The tight end emerged. Okay, Pollard was on that team a year ago. He had some impact on the team when it came to the running game. Gave him something at least. I mean, this Rico Dowdley and this relic in Zeke Elliott, those are guys that you're going to run the ball with? Pollard was average last year. Well, shit, average is good in that offense with Dak. You don't have anything average. So you're going to go from average to poor, right? You won 12 games with an average back. Now you have a poor back. I mean, here's what I do if I'm Dallas. Rico's better than Pollard? Okay, well, I want to see that because I'm not buying that. Here's what I would do to Dallas. Well, hey, do me a favor. Who does Dallas open with? Do the Cowboys open up with the Jets? Or do the Jets open up with San Francisco? Who do the Cowboys open up with this year? Who do they open with? 304. Who do the Cowboys open with? Okay? Because I don't care if you don't buy it. I watch every one of their games on tape. Okay, the Browns are going to beat them. The Browns have a superior roster to them. The Browns are going to run the ball right down their throat. And I would test that defense out immediately. Okay? You were not a very good run stopping. I saw a team throw only 14 passes and kick the shit out of you and put 35 points up on the Cowboys. And you're going to try to sit here and tell me you think the Cowboys have upgraded their defensive front? No way. No way. Okay? No way. Your linebackers aren't horrible. And you do get Diggs back. Cleveland Browns are better than the Cowboys. Cowboy fans should stop by the merch the last 30 years. It's been a failure. I would say this, Disciple. One of those tackles has to stop Myles Garrett. Who? They got the third best O-line in football going against one of the worst defensive fronts in football. How are you stopping the run? Eagles and Cowboys will both be 0-1 to start the season. Guyton's not a bad ball player, but he ain't stopping Myles Garrett. Okay? He's not. He's not. I think Cleveland's going to have a really good year. Now, they play in the AFC North, which is going to be, but for me, if I'm going to go after the Dallas Cowboys this year, I'm going to do everything to make Dak Prescott one-dimensional, and I'm going to defend. And I'm going to do everything in my power to put somebody on CeeDee Lamb, and I want to see if anybody else can beat me. If you stop Lamb, who beats you? No one stops Garrett. You could take one player out of you could take one player out of a game if you want to. Okay? Well, if I take CeeDee Lamb out of the game, what does Dallas have offensively? Jake Ferguson? He's not bad. I like him. Hey, Fly. I like the player. I do. I like the player. You take Lamb. They may not even have Lamb ready week 1, according to Philly 500, if he holds out. And this is why he has the leverage. Brandon Ayuk has no leverage with the Niners. They drafted a guy. They got dudes on that team they like. Brandon Ayuk has no leverage. CeeDee Lamb has leverage because CeeDee Lamb could do this. You take CeeDee Lamb off that roster, Cowboys have nothing of a game wrecker offensively. Dak's not caring. Dude, so you went from Amari Cooper and CD, and you've taken those two guys away from him. You mind? I mean, I don't get it. Okay. These internet warriors talking about it's easy to stop Lamb. You're all hilarious. 304. You're not going to have to stop him. He's not going to be on the field because of his contract. He's not showing up to training camp. He's already said it. And if the Cowboys don't put a $35 million deal on the table, he wants more than Jefferson. Are the Cowboys going to really pay him more than Justin Jefferson? That guy's not Justin Jefferson. Cowboys are in a dilemma here. You're either going to pay him. He's got the leverage. He's got the leverage on you because you don't have anybody else in that huddle right now to go like, you see, the 49ers can do this. Well, they got Kittle and Debo, and they got McCaffrey. They can, like, you know, they can get away with that. And plus the kid they drafted. Cowboys can't get away with that. You got to pay the guy. I mean, and if the Cowboys are smart, do you trade him? CeeDee Lamb? Got to pay Parsons, you got to pay the quarterback. Well, what's the point of paying the quarterback if you get rid of his main target? You're not going to go into camp. You've got to pay one of them. I don't think you can pay all of them. Parsons is going into a final year. He's going to want to get up a 20-sack season. That's going to command $40 million. Okay? This guy wants more than Justin. He wants more than Justin Jefferson. His opinion, he had a better year than A.J. Brown. I think that what they're going to do is sign Lamb, and they're going to wait on Parsons next year, and they're going to allow Dak to walk out, which would be the mistake of a lifetime. Hey, Dak may not be, but I'll tell you what, you want to know where that's going to be interesting to watch? You watch Minnesota without Kirk Cousins up there. Hey, for the record, how has Washington been at the quarterback position, Yale, since Cousins left D.C.? Hey, James Jones, you can help us out here. How has Washington been without Kirk Cousins in Washington at the quarterback position? Hey, well, wait a minute here. Lamb's tier 2, AJ's tier 1. Vortex, that has nothing to do with paying people any longer. Look how many tier 2 quarterbacks have been paid $50 million. Vortex, do you think that Trevor Lawrence is a tier 1 quarterback? You think he's a tier 1 guy? He's the highest paid player in the league. You think he's a tier 1, one of the elite guys in the game? And it really has nothing to do with it any longer. Washington is way more of a threat this year than Dallas. Dallas will fight for third with the Giants. I like Washington. Again, it's going to come down to the quarterback. Kirk would have stayed, but Minnesota offered more money, or you mean Atlanta offered more money. Dude, he would have stayed because he had Jefferson. Now he's got a pretty good-looking crew down there in Atlanta. Plus, you got that running back down there, Bijan Robinson, who looks like he's going to be somebody good. They got to worry about their O-line has gotten a lot better. Their defensive line, they got to get home. They got to get pressure on the quarterback. Plus, they're in the division they can win. I think Atlanta's going to put some wins up this year with Cousins. By the way, you see those guys, if I'm not mistaken, you see those guys week 2 on Monday night. I mean, that's right. Think about it, Jeffrey. Washington Commanders have not been a good quarterback team since Cousins left. So when he went to Minnesota, and even when you look at the wins, he won a ton of games in Minnesota. Now, he didn't go far in the postseason, but he has gone and done as much as Dak Prescott. If you look at Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott are the same guy. The only difference, 304, the only difference is one plays with the Cowboys. That's it. Okay? 40 more likes, guys. See if we can hit that button there for us, man. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you again. We made that comparison today. By the way, I wanted to go back on one point that we made, and I've been saying it today here. And Yale goes that Cousins never got to a Super Bowl. True. Okay. Yale. So he's Phillip Rivers? Phillip Rivers? Yale, Phillip Rivers? Right? He's like Phillip Rivers, something like that. Right? So let Big Sills take a time out here. Okay? Got to take a time out. If you can hit the like button, keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Stills National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. There's no doubt when I bring up this point about ESPN here, and I want to go back to that comment about how we started the program off with Pat Tillman, especially this week with the 4th of July. And especially our network, how we look at military and how we revere the people that serve in our country, men and women. And to see how ESPN, I was so grateful that Pat McAfee killed the ESPYs. You know, I try to do the best I can. I don't know how you can't comment on some of the things that are going on in the world. And for the life of me, I don't know how people could just exclude life. When you're talking and you're doing a talk show, you talk about things that are going on in your everyday life and what you see. You shouldn't be afraid of it. I'm not saying you come here for politics or anything or such, but when you come here, this is like sitting at a bar. Nobody would sit at a bar and have a conversation without bringing up the presidential race, the Supreme Court rulings today, your favorite sports team, Caitlin Clark, and how she's just revolutionizing the WNBA. All of that is conversational, and you shouldn't be afraid to have a conversation about any of it. Okay? You just shouldn't. It's okay. I love C24. Hey, C24, I'll just ask you one question, my friend. Why are you here? You don't have to be. This is not a draft for you. I'm so glad, in a way, that we can motivate you every day to come here and post shit and say stuff and tell people the show sucks. He's no good. I'm telling you to go away. This guy, this show sucks. Well, then go. Because I have to get on your nerves before the show ends. You're under the assumption I respect you for that to happen. And I don't. I mean, I got 13 minutes of the old C24. Hey, I'll tell you what I do like. That you're there and you keep going on it. And you keep pushing away until I acknowledge you. I acknowledge everybody out here. Hoss, you don't get on my nerves. Honest to God. It's like when people go on social media and they go like this, nobody cares that you posted this. And I'm like, well, it's my social media page. I care. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing that for you. Why would you post something like that? Nobody cares what you're saying. And you're like, what? No, this is the Dan Sileo show. And this is my social media page. You don't have to be here. It's kind of weird. Joe Biden supposedly took a week. Hey, DFW, I'll tell you what I wouldn't do if I were the Trump folks right now. I wouldn't take that debate and lay down on it. Because if you think that race in November is over, that's like a guy who's reading his press clippings before the game is over. I wouldn't take anything for granted right now on both sides of the aisle. Okay? I wouldn't take anything for granted. Okay? By the way, guys, it's a travel week this week. We're so thankful. Got a ton of people watching us over on the on Twitter today. We look forward to that. CeeDee Lamb requested trade if no deal. Hey, Jameson, did that just come in? Did that just come in? He demanded a trade. Hey, DFW, is that true? CeeDee Lamb demanded a trade. Wow. Dallas Cowboys, man, just came in. So CeeDee Lamb, who's got 3 weeks to show up to training camp, is now demanding a trade from the Cowboys. Okay, let's do this now. If you put CeeDee Lamb on the open market and you send him to Tennessee, you think he has the career he's having right now without Dak? Do you look at that guy and you think he's Justin Jefferson? I don't. He didn't demand a trade? Okay. I want to see a little bit more of that. I do. I want to see a little bit more of that. Hey, 304. If I'm CeeDee Lamb, he says he's staying on holdout. Okay, on Instagram, JPA football. I hear let's see here. Where did that rumor come from? Your mama's basement. 304 is shaking. Stats, not playoff success. I'm not through. Hey, 304. I want out. Dude, Lamb is never going to get $35 million from anybody else in the NFL. Who would pay that? Who would pay him $35 million? Kansas City won't. Jacksonville wouldn't. With the Texans, they got a ton of money. With the Jets, with the Commanders? You put CeeDee Lamb with Terry McLaurin and Johan Dotson. It's 3 weeks to training camp. Plenty of time to work a deal. Okay, DFW, what's more of a priority for you if you're the Cowboys right now? What's more of a priority, signing Dak or CD? I think Dak Prescott's wasting his career in Dallas. The Panthers would. The Panthers. With the Saints? CD has always said he wants to be here and retire here. He's talking Dallas. I just think he wished he knew what quarterback will be here next year. I think that's a great take. Okay? I think that's a great take. If you're CeeDee Lamb, do you want to sign in Dallas until you know what the quarterback situation is going to be? But then again, Justin Jefferson didn't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. He has a rookie now, and he took the money. He didn't take the opportunity. I mean, Justin Jefferson is not, okay, he's not playing winning football. He's playing money ball. Okay, he's playing money ball. So, right? All right, I believe I have to take one more break before the end of the program here. Is that right, Xander? I got one more break because I swept the top of the hour, and I got to take one more break if I'm mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, is that correct? I got to do one more. Is that right? We're good if you want. Okay, good. Okay, then we'll stick it here. We'll stay here. CD is more important. Dak won't be here in 2025. Eventually, CD will take the money. I'm just a messenger. If CD does get traded, Dallas is cooked because they have nothing else. I think Dallas had, hey, every 304 DFW, isn't it time to rip the script up? Isn't it? 25 more, Elizabeth's saying. Tell you what, folks, finish strong. Unlike others. Hey, when you get knocked down, you got to get back up again. Hey. When you get knocked down, you got to get back up again. Right? Jerry needs to do something. I've never seen the Cowboys in such a bind right now. Where you got three. Dude, Micah's not the deal to me. It's the quarterback and the receiver here. You guys are awesome today, man. Jerry has already seen what Dak is. Jerry has never believed completely in Prescott. I'll tell you what, really, DFW? When you pay a guy $50 million, you don't believe in him, but you pay him anyway? That's a nice way of not believing in somebody. Cosmo says, Sills, do you think CD is worth 35, 40 million? Well, here, Cosmo, do you think Trevor Lawrence is worth 55 million? Do you think he's worth $55 million? I don't think that's the point anymore. I really don't. I don't think that's the point. Okay? I just think this market value stuff, Parsons is going to want to be out of Dallas if CD gets traded. That's not how that works. Parsons is not going to want to be traded out of Dallas. You get the biggest exposure being a Dallas Cowboy. There's not a team you'd rather play for than the Cowboys. Now, if you want to win, you don't want to play in Dallas. But if you want your money and you want to do television and you want to have a brand, you don't want to play anywhere else. There's a reason all those Cowboy guys are on TV. Jerry makes it happen. Hey, whether you like it or not, You could see Parsons on the Eagles one day. Why? Okay, look how long it took Jerry to pay Dak on his last contract. He did. He waffled back and forth, and it cost him in the end. Jerry's sending his team after Parsons already. Parsons has his priorities all mixed up right now. His podcast and off-the-field stuff is getting in the way of getting better. Can I tell you something, DFW, that I think that has been an influence on him? And you tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think what Jason Kelce has done and what Travis Kelce has done has blinded him in seeing what those guys have created, how those guys are setting their lives up with their podcast and with their lives. But what he's missing out on, both those men have Super Bowl rings. Both those men are on the back nine of their careers. And those guys are now looking for life after football. Okay, Parsons is just starting his life in football. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's starting his life in football. And to me, I think this guy, he's putting that ahead of his career. Joey B. Sills, we want more strawberry stories from South Beach in the 80s. No, my aunt watches this show, dog. None of that. We're not doing any of that. Okay? We're not doing any of that. Hey, Dez, you think I'm wrong on that one? I think, he sees Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce and what those guys have done and how those guys have set up their lives now. But the one thing that they've done is that if those guys had a chance to be young again, I don't believe that they would be doing these podcasts. I think they would be laser focused on their careers, but now they're on the back nine. Hey, no maniac. I'm good with it, man. Okay? I'm good with it, man. You're going to be fishing tomorrow at 8 a.m.? That's good, dog. What are you going for tomorrow, maniac? Okay. Yeah, it does. I think because people are in here saying, they got it. I think he's got it a little bit backwards here, man. I'm not a fan of Chiefs Kelce. You think he's a little more phonier, right, Barb? Than what Jason is. Jason looks a little bit more genuine. I liked his interaction with Antonio Brown, too. I thought that was pretty good, that stuff. Man, Travis is set for life with Taylor. And we'll see how that works out, but he's set for life anyway, man. He's really done a nice job of making a brand for him and his brother. I think those guys have done a wonderful job transitioning and being able to get out of football like that and having something where people are going to give you $17 million a year. Shoot, that guy may make more money a year annually than what he made as a player in the league. Brady's going to almost do that himself. He's making $35 million now with Fox. So, guys, fantastic stuff today. I can't thank you enough, especially on a travel week when it comes to the 4th of July stuff. Guys, thank you again. We so appreciate it. Hit the like button. Xander, Big Joe, we so appreciate you guys. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Make sure you catch them tomorrow, Maniac. We'll see you on the flip side.